Sending that one forward, finds Carter Lowe through the neutral zone. Lowe waits, takes the shot, kicks aside, rebound, scores! Cole Beaudoin! Welcome to GFL Memorial Gardens in Sault Ste. Marie for tonight's matchup between the Barrie Colts and the Sault Greyhounds. It's Mike Poirier and Jean Pereira, and you can see over my shoulder, Josh McCann has also made the journey up to Northern Ontario as we get ready for this one. It's tight quarters here in the media row, but we're glad we're able to do this broadcast and bring you this as this is the end of a 3-3 weekend for the Barrie Colts. Successful start with 2 wins over the Sudbury Wolves, and more importantly, right now riding a 6-game winning streak.
Yeah, the annual Northern Trek here in the face of a Hounds team that lost 2 straight, looking to bounce back tonight. But the Colts coming off a couple of big wins over the Sudbury Wolves this weekend and looking to build on that.
So this Barrie Colts team riding plenty of momentum. The penalty kill unit has been the story leading up to this weekend, as it was at the bottom of the OHL rankings, but now steadily climbing up after successfully killing off 11 consecutive penalties against the Sudbury Wolves. But this is a Sault Greyhounds team that's got a lot more offensive threats up front.
Well, another big challenge tonight for them, and they've been playing really well. Big turnaround from that tough start that they had that saw them drop to 20th overall in penalty kill. But no doubt the return of Emil Hemming a big factor in that as well. Head coach Dylan Smoskowitz crediting assistant coach Patrick Sexton with the work that he's done with the penalty kill over the last few weeks to turn this thing around.
And it's also been quite remarkable as we've been watching the standings for points for players in the Ontario Hockey League. And Cole Beaudoin has steadily been rising since coming back from the Utah Mammoth. Coming into tonight, 28 points. That puts him 4th in points now in the Ontario Hockey League. He's kind of gone into beast mode.
Yeah, you're averaging 2 points a game. That's a pretty good clip. And, you're among some big names like that. But Cole Beaudoin, again, just, there's a reason why he wears the C and all. But, this guy just never stops working out there. I mean, up and down the ice, at either end. But offensively, he's just really turned up the notch. And then again, you can really see the chemistry between him and Henning. And Joseph Salandros fit in really nice on that line. And, they've been their best line night after night.
And another player that's just been off to a remarkable start, Kayshawn Aitchison, 15 goals. That's second most in the Ontario Hockey League. We're not just talking about defenseman goal scoring. That's in the league. So a defenseman potentially could take over top spot in goal scoring, which is such a remarkable thought.
Yeah, I mean, the run he's on right now, just, 9 goals in 6 games. And talking to head coach Dylan Smoskowitz, says, look, this guy just does it night after night. And, he's amongst them. I mean, the Colts have had some really good defensemen, through the years, the Brant Clarks, the Aaron Ekblads, and that have come through and put up some big points. But Kayshawn Aitchison has been on another level, and he's having fun doing it, always wearing that smile and having a little fun as well. Of course, that battle with Chase Coughlin of the Sudbury Wolves, and there's Aitchison waving at him in the penalty box after scoring 2 power play goals to kind of come on out. You can come out now.
Well, that kind of really riled up fans in Sudbury. Seeing the comments on social media after the game last night, just how fans feel saying, it's not right that Aitchison was doing that and whatnot. But when you're looking at it that way, Kayshawn Aitchison is that player that you love to hate, because if you're in the opposition, you don't want to play against him. But if you're a Barrie Colts fan, you just love what he brings night in and night out. And you can tell that it's everyone else in the lineup feeds off of that.
Look, I mean, you go through the NHL, any level of hockey, there are those type of players that love to get under their opponent's skins and whether it's a hit or whether it's chirping, and Kayshawn Aitchison loves to do that. He's always wearing a smile, loves to talk to his opponents, and him and Coughlin have been battling back and forth. And again, Sudbury fans, it's no surprise that when he touches the puck, often he hears boos, but Aitchison feeds off that. And asking him last night, you've talked about how much you love to play in this building. He said, oh, yeah. And, sets the Colts record for the 3 fastest goals, the hat trick, breaking Joseph Glandisi's record in Sudbury as well. But it really speaks to volumes, just how much of an impact he's made.
So the Barrie Colts, they made the trek to Sault Ste. Marie last night after the win in Sudbury. So they had a bit of a rest day here in the Soo, as much as you can rest when you're in the hotel. But they're going to be playing a strong Greyhounds team. They've already played them once already. That was a shootout loss back in Barrie. So this is going to be a tougher contest. And you've got Brady Martin. He's likely to be a factor here tonight. The Nashville Predators prospect was not in the lineup for that last meeting, but here we're going to get a look at him here.
Yeah, it's a team with a lot more structure, way more sound defensively. They make you work for everything. And this Greyhounds team, and then add to the fact that they're coming off a couple of losses on home ice. Those are always the toughest ones. The Colts looking to run their win streak to 7 games, but I got a feeling they're gonna have their hands full here tonight. But what an opportunity here to face a Hounds team. It's always a good test, these big games.
So the Sioux losing back-to-back games against the Flint Firebirds and the Guelph Storm. So we'll see what's in store. But in the meantime, let's head over to our Coach's Corner, brought to you by Mariposa School of Skating, as we catch up with head coach Dylan Smoskowitz.
Chatting with Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz. Third game in 3 nights for you guys. Successful trip so far. 2 wins against the Sudbury Wolves. Looking to continue that momentum here today?
Yeah, for sure. It was something that we worked toward for the last couple of weeks. We call them investment days just for games like today, where how can our last shift of today's game be as hard as our first shift on Thursday? And it's something we take great pride in, and it's a good challenge for us, and I'm sure the guys are looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to watching them play tonight.
And yesterday, it seemed like you guys were in full control in the first and the third period. Second period, seems like that game got a little bit away from you guys.
Yeah, just a little bit uncharacteristic. Just started to take our foot off the gas a little bit and just stray away from the structure. But again, super proud of the guys for getting back to it. They had a really good chat in the room, and the third period was super structured. You give up 1 power play and a 6-on-5 and still only have 4 shots against for the entire 20 minutes, and to go put 3 on the board ourselves is a pretty good showing against a team in their home rink who had a bit of momentum going into that period. So we want to take that third period and carry it over to today.
And I know we've talked about it in the past, the penalty kill. You must be pretty impressed. 11 straight penalty kills now against the Wolves. Things seem to be really coming together with this group.
Yeah, definitely. Again, kudos to our guys for really buying in, taking pride in it. It was very frustrating for them to see our name at the bottom of that list in terms of penalty killing percentage. And again, Patty Sexton, our PK coach, has done a fantastic job with these guys, getting them ready, doing detailed pre-scouts on our opponents. So we hope to have another good showing tonight.
And you guys played the Sioux already once this season. That ended up being in a shootout. So you guys are kind of familiar with this group. You know what they bring. Are you expecting much of the same as what we saw earlier in the season?
Yeah, it's strange to get done with a Western opponent before American Thanksgiving. It's the last time we're going to see the Sioux until maybe the league finals. So it's something that we're not too unfamiliar with them, even though they're not a divisional or a conference opponent. But again, we weren't super happy with our full 60-minute effort the last time we played these guys. We've adjusted, we've grown, we've learned from that. So again, looking forward to putting a full 60 together tonight.
And the Sioux have come in losing back-to-back games. This is going to be a very hungry team. How important is it to get that quick start here?
It's not that important to get a quick start. It's just important to be consistent. It's not that we want to have a good start and then kind of flow for the rest of the game. We just want to be consistent and solid the entire night through. We don't want to be too high risk. We don't want to be too slow. We want to play in your face. We want to play physical. We want to do the simple things. So if we can do that, again, as hard as our first shift and our last shift, and we can make that the same, we're going to be okay tonight.
So that is Barrie Colts head coach Dylan Smoskowitz, and I do like what he says there, talking about how he's not necessarily wanting a quick start for this hockey game. He wants that consistency, and we saw it last night against the Sudbury Wolves, where they were strong in the first period, strong in the third, but it's that second period where the team wasn't really to get much going. It's the Sudbury Wolves really took over that hockey game.
Yeah, talking to Dylan Smoskowitz often said you find out a lot about your team, and they came in after that period, had a good talk, and they knew they had to be better in that third period. And they really dominated that third after Sudbury dominated the second to get 2 goals and tie that one. And that's how you're going to bounce. Obviously, you're looking for that consistency from start to finish, but the ability to bounce back last night, and Barrie really took over that game in that third period.
And it was also the physicality that we saw. It's Gabriel Eliasson dropping the gloves with Doucette. That fight was just, if you haven't seen the video, it's pretty intense, those two. But then we saw Brad Gardner drop the gloves with Nate Villeneuve. I was able to talk with Brad in the hotel this morning, and he was saying that's his first fight as a member of the Barrie Colts, and he's not sure. He was excited about that moment because it helped the team, because you take Nate Villeneuve out of the game for 5 minutes. It's kind of like that chess game where you're taking pieces away, and that helped the Barrie Colts in that third period.
Yeah, for Brad Gardner, it's not a big part of his game, but he was willing to answer the call there, and Villeneuve is kind of used to that, kind of trying to get under the skin of his opponents. And he kind of tailed Gardner there looking for that. And, credit to Brad Gardner, a guy who, like you said, doesn't drop the gloves very often, but he held his own in that one.
And another player that's been standing out too has been Justin Hanser. I know he's not going to wow you on the points. He hasn't gotten a goal yet in the Ontario Hockey League, but there was that one play in particular last night against the Sudbury Wolves where he carried the puck to the net. Everybody for the Wolves kept an eye on him, but he's got that great hockey sense to find Alex Asadorian on the back door to get that goal scoring. And you kind of need that from everybody on the team to contribute and to help out with the offense.
I think you see that. And there's that confidence growing in Justin Hanser's game. I mean, I think you're trying to find your way into the league, and all of a sudden this year you have a little bit more confidence, to try things and do things. And all of a sudden you got Hanser racing up the ice in a tight hockey game, and just great patience on that goal to set up Asadorian and that cross crease pass. Just an outstanding play by Hanser. Talk about a guy that stepped up in a big moment.
Well, he was going to be one of the defensemen that's going to be counted upon this season after Grayson Tiller being one of those players traded away in the offseason. But one lineup note, Teague Vader out, in comes Armstrong. We're still seeing that rotation from the Barrie Colts, where they're rotating some of the young defensemen, and for Armstrong, a chance for him to play at the tail end of this weekend.
And I mean, obviously you run through it and, an opportunity. Look, you're going to get, when you got a lineup that's deep and, Barrie Colts moving young guys in and out of the lineup, Vader, who's had a nice run here and gets a chance to take a breather, and for Ethan Armstrong gets back into the lineup. And, there's another guy that you see game in and game out getting better and better. And, it takes a little bit of time, not just get comfortable. And I think you start to see him more and more develop as he develops his game.
Now, I have to give you credit. You're doing a great job handling everyone going behind us. You're in tight quarters at the GFL Memorial Gardens, but we are getting ready to go here for this puck drop. The Barrie Colts and the Sioux Greyhounds are about 2 minutes away from the national anthem, so the players come out onto the ice. But for tonight, for the Colts, yes, they're going to probably be a little fatigued, but you want to go all out because this is the last game of the week.
Yeah, that's when you can empty the tank. And, first and foremost, I think you have to be sound defensively. You get veteran Benarevic back in there, and you hope he makes some big stops here on the road. You need your veteran goaltender in these kind of games. Look, the Sioux, Brady Martin, Sharon, they got some skill up front. They can put the puck in the net. For the Colts, the test is kind of survive that early. It's going to be a hungry Hounds team that's coming off a pair of losses, looking to avenge those. So I think the first 10 minutes of the game will tell a lot about the Barrie Colts here tonight.
So we're getting ready for the Barrie Colts and the Sioux Greyhounds. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll have our starting goaltenders and puck drop here from the GFL Memorial Gardens. So we are just about ready to go here between the Colts and the Greyhounds at GFL Memorial Gardens. And while we have a moment, we're going to take a look at our starting goaltenders, which is presented by Greg Hurst Crossing by Georgian Communities, new homes minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm.
Well, we'll start with the visiting Barrie Colts. Ben Arevic gets a start. The 6'3", 201-pound Milton native making his 13th appearance of the season. 5-5, 0-2 record, 3.37 goals against average, 9-10 save percentage. His last start, 37 saves in that 6-2 win over Sudbury on Thursday night in Barrie. For the Sioux Greyhounds, 6'4", 214-pound Barrie native Landon Miller gets a start. He's making his 13th appearance, 7-5 records, 2.93 goals against average, 891 save percentage. Miller, a fourth-round pick of the Detroit Red Wings in 2024.
Our referees tonight, Tyson Stewart and Jesse Wilmot. And on the lines, Justin Harrington and Michael Quinnell. As we are ready to go, face-off won by the Colts. Kayshawn Aitchison inside his open blue line is going to pass this one ahead. That's going to go deep into the Greyhound zone. Bodwin trying to put it in front. That's taken away by Brady Martin. Martin will send this one forward. Mignosa gets to the line and out. Bodwin, though, he's going to send it right back into the Greyhound zone. Miller slows that one down. Greyhounds will pick it up. Skating this one ahead. That's Chase Reed. Reed trying to send that one forward. Greyhounds carry it in. Mignosa on the far side. That's going to go off the end boards. Near side, Brady Martin. He takes a hit from Passmore. In front, what a save by Harevic. He robs Hayes. Puck's on the far side. Greyhounds with possession. That's Hunter Solomon. He can't hold on to it. Colts get it to the line and out. Puck goes back into the Sioux zone. The Greyhounds will settle it down as Evans is going to send it ahead. Colts making a change as Martin hammers that one. Stopped by Harevic. Colts can't get this one out of the zone. Louse kicks that one ahead to his stick. Louse back to Jeremy Martin. Martin with a shot. Stopped by Harevic. And he's going to hold on to that one. But a quick start here from the Sioux Greyhounds.
Well, Harevic tested a couple of big times, but how about that stop on Hayes? Hayes set up from behind the net, right in that slot area. He had that top corner pick, but Hayes getting out, Harevic getting out the shoulder, and veteran netfinder coming up big here early on as the Greyhounds get out to a good start.
Well, we mentioned off the top, this is a Greyhounds team that's lost back-to-back games, and they want to get back into the win column as it's a tough race right now in the West Division. About 7 points back of the Windsor Spitfires for the division lead. Colts will skate this one ahead. Here's Calvin Crombie through the neutral zone. Crombie trying to send it ahead. Cross ice to Greer. Stopped by Miller. What a rush here by that line. Puck's behind the Greyhounds net. McConnell Barker sends it ahead. Eliason delivers the hit on Martin. Greyhounds trying to send that one around. O'Brien deep in his own zone. Ahead to Louse. Louse passing that one ahead. Here's Quinn McKenzie. Up at the head. Collecting that one is Jeremy Martin. Martin with a shot. That's going to go over that. In front, scores. Not sure how that one ended up going in as the puck originally went over the nets, but the Sioux Greyhounds have opened the scoring.
I don't know if that hit a Barrie player in front, but took an awkward bounce and ends up beating Ben Arevic as his teammates go over and give their goaltender and teammate a pat on the pad, and a tough one for Ben Arevic, but the Sioux Greyhounds with some early pressure get a fortunate bounce there and find themselves with an early lead.
Well, they're showing a replay on the board. That was a goal from last night's game against the Guelph Storm. So we still haven't even had a look as to what actually happened on that one. So it is 1-0 Sault Ste. Marie. We'll wait for confirmation as to who the goal scorer is. But the puck right now is deep in the Colt zone. Barrie trying to move it ahead. Loose puck picked up by Sharon across. One-timer stopped by Harevic. As firing that one was Harris Kangratich.
Well, I think the Hounds are up for this one. I mean, a quick start here by Sault Ste. Marie. Shots already 5-1. Brad Gardner, that one shot had a good chance opportunity in front. Nice setup by Crombie, but Sioux coming right back here and keeping the pressure on.
So much momentum early on here from this Sioux Hockey Club. As Bodie Stewart gets it off the draw, he's going to send it down ice. Schneid fanned on it. Chase Reed deep in his own zone, gets it out to center. Kayshawn Aitchison will find it for the Colts. Backhand pass to Passmore. Up the wing, Schneid tips that one in the zone. Evans will come back for the Sioux. He's going to send that one across. Greyhounds get it out to center. Smith couldn't get a skate on it. So that's going to be an icing call against Sault Ste. Marie. as this is going to come back. But for the Barrie Colts, kind of on their heels early on.
Oh, no, you knew the Hounds were going to come out of the gate quick in this one. 2 losses, and looks like Jerry Martin is credited with his goal, his 6th of the season. That from Quinn McKenzie, that shot from the point.
So Jeremy Martin getting the opening goal here for the Greyhounds. They're just announcing it now on the scoreboard as that's deflected deep into the Barrie zone. Kayshawn Aitchison back to pick it up. Aitchison's going to set up here for the Barrie Colts, taking his time. Got Quinn McKenzie on the forecheck for the Sioux. Passmore up the wing. Getting a stick on it was Salandra, so no icing. Miller's going to play it behind his own net. Sends it over to Reed. Taken away by Hemming. Hemming, though, can't hold on to it. Taken away by the Sioux. They're going to move this one out. Smith. He's knocked down by Beaudoin. That puck's going to sail back behind the Colts net. Armstrong's there to continue it. Smith, though, he's going to pick it up now for the Sioux. He's taken down by Beaudoin. Hanser sending this one back to Armstrong. Armstrong ahead, finds Salandra. He'll just peel back into his own zone. Colts trying to set things up. Joe Salandra reaches the center line, carrying it in. He'll send this one around the boards. Near side, Armstrong after it. Mignosa gets to it first. Solomon back behind his own net. Chase Reed finds Hayes. Hayes trying to get around Stewart. Takes the shot. Misses the net. Puck comes to the near side. Picking up now is Calvin Crombie. Crombie on the wing for the Colts. Takes the shot and he misses the net. That puck's going to sail back around. Travis Hayes, he can't hold on to it. Emerton comes up with it at his own blue line. Trying to set up Crombie for the breakaway, but that's taken away by Winkelhofer. Winkelhofer, his pass picked off by Eliasson. Puts that one back into the Sioux zone. Winkelhofer there to pick it up for the Greyhounds. Up to Brady Martin. Winkelhofer sending that one across, picked up by Solomon. He'll send that one forward. Greyhounds enter the zone. Far side, Mignosa trying to keep it away. Passes across. Martin trying to go back to Mignosa, and that hits Eliasson. Harebic was diving across. It was a wide open net. Colts are going to dump this one down the ice. Icing is waved off. Hunter Solomon back to play it. Quickly ahead to Hayes. Travis Hayes on the wing. Takes the shot. That's going to go over the net. McConnell Barker. He misses it. Puck will escape the zone. Louse finds it here for the Sioux. He's knocked down by Edgar. Puck sent ahead. Desiderio up to Asadorian. Alex Asadorian will flip this one deep. Ends up in the near corner. McConnell Barker there for the Greyhounds. Sending that one around. Far side. That's Jeremy Martin, the goal scorer. That doesn't go too far as the Colts block it at center ice. Martin puts it back to O'Brien in his own zone. Jeremy Martin again. He'll reach center. His pass deflected. Louse chasing after it. Colts trying to regain possession. Picked up here by Martin. Martin with a shot in front and fanning on that one-timer on the far side was O'Brien. Greyhounds just not letting up, putting more pressure here. Louse fires and that one goes wide of the net. McConnell Barker from the half boards trying to protect it from Edgar. He's knocked down. Aitchison will find it. That's poked away. McConnell Barker gets it again. McConnell Barker passing it back to O'Brien. O'Brien takes the shot. Stopped by Harebic. Louse looking over his shoulder. Sends us back to the blue line. And that pass is going to escape the zone. Brody McConnell Barker sends that one ahead. Gets it back. That rolled on him. Puck goes to the corner. Beaudoin back to Hanser. He can't control that pass. He turns it over. Zelensky across, but Beaudoin pokes that one away, and the Colts get it out. Here's Emil Hemming. Hemming on the wing. That's knocked away from him. The Greyhounds trying to regain possession. Hemming, though, finds it inside the blue line. Down low to Salandra. Back to the blue line. It's Hanser. Justin Hanser with a shot. Deflected. Brown blocks it. It's bouncing around, and that's going to go to the near corner. Chase Reed trying to get this one out. Greyhounds can't find it. Salandra takes it away. Reed with the hit. Puck's in the corner. Cole Beaudoin sends it back to the point. Here's Evan Passmore keeping it down low to Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin along the boards. His pass is blocked. Knocks it up to Hemming. Hemming in the slot. Back to the point. Hanser takes the shot. That's blocked. Puck will come to the near side. Greyhounds with it. Charon gets this out to center. Tied up there by Salandra. And the Greyhounds dump it in. We're approaching the 7-minute mark of the first period. 1-0 for Sault Ste. Marie. Jeremy Martin, the lone goal scorer, the former Flint Firebird, as that's going to go down the ice, and it's an icing call.
Greyhounds with some golden opportunities early on in this one. Mignosa with an open net, couldn't get it through, and immense pressure early on, but you go to that top line with Beaudoin, Hemming, and Salandra, and you ask that top line kind of relieve the pressure. Hey, let's start to turn the momentum here, and a strong shift by that line finally gets the Hounds into their own zone, but just great pressure early on. And Mike, we talked about the opening 10 minutes in this contest. You knew the Greyhounds coming off 2 losses here on home ice. They're going to be hungry for this one, and certainly showing that here early on.
Well, this is a Greyhounds team with some high expectations, trying to keep pace with the Windsor Spitfires in the West, but the team just running into a bit of a rut right now with those losses to Flint and Guelph. So you knew they were going to be desperate. And boy, oh boy, 6 shots already, and Ben Horebek's had to be solid.
I mean, there's at least 2 or 3 real quality shots there. And that McNosa one where he looked like he had the yawning cage. I'm not sure how that didn't get through, but the Colts will be certainly happy about that here. See if they can kind of ride out this wave of pressure here and start to turn the momentum here a bit.
So we'll get the face-off to the left of Horebek. 13:29 left to go in the first period. 1-0 Greyhounds. Face-off one by the Colts. Hanser, he'll send this one out. That's going to go down the length of the ice. And another icing call against the Barrie Colts. So we'll try this all over again.
Well, that's the thing, right? You know, the Hounds are going to be really ramping up the intensity. Really good pace to this one early on. Of course, the Colts playing their 3rd game in 3 nights, and it's a contest where you're going to have to rely on all 4 lines. They're going to have to give you quality minutes. Let's see how we move along here, how the Colts hang on.
Greyhounds get it off the draw. Smith, he can't get a shot to go. Taken away by Schneid. William Schneid reaching center ice. He'll carry it in for the Colts. He's stopped by Reed. McKenzie trying to dig this one free. Schneid still on top of it. Battle on the near boards. Kind of in a headlock there by Chase Reed. Newton trying to dig it as well. Now it's the Greyhounds who'll move it out. That's going to go around the boards. Blake Aerosmith, the former Niagara Ice Dog, he'll get that one out to center. Eliasson sends it right back into the Sioux zone. Landon Miller out of his net to play it. He'll leave it there for his defense. As Solomon, he'll pass that one ahead. McKenzie puts that one off the boards. Eliasson's there to collect it now for Barrie. Eliasson sending it around. Cole Emerton now with possession. Up to Gardner. He'll send that back to his defense. Eliasson deep in his own corner. Puts it around the net. Picked up there by Emerton. Emerton flips this one in the air. It's going to go down the ice. Chasing after it is Crombie, but Chase Reed gets to it first. He's going to send it around. Solomon on the far side. Gets this one out to center ice. Greyhounds carrying it in on the wing. That's Brady Martin. He's going to go around the Colts net. Martin still with it. Takes the hit from Crombie, but stays with possession. But now that puck will escape the zone. Magnosa at center ice. Stewart couldn't get a stick on it. Hayes on the far side hits the brakes. Dropping this back to the point. Solomon sends it towards the net. There's Martin, or Magnosa rather, as Horebek thought it was just going to be a clean pickup, but didn't realize he had Marco Magnosa beside him.
I don't think he really spotted Magnosa. It was right there on the doorstep, and Horebek able to hold that one in. But right now, pressure. This Greyhounds team, especially their Blue Liners, they're coming up, moving up, and into that center ice area and really clogging it, making it tough for the Colts to get anything going. But again, as well, that puts pressure up front. And it's leading to turnovers in the Greyhounds with a big advantage here in zone time.
Well, the Greyhounds playing with 7 defensemen tonight, so they're rotating through the lines. As the Colts get this one down the ice, Hemming sends it deep. Evans there to collect it for the Greyhounds. Ahead for Solomon. Takes a hard hit there from Cole Beaudoin. Battle along the far boards. Beaudoin trying to get it. Here's Salandra back to Armstrong. His pass. Landon Miller gets a piece. Another chance. They jam at it. Puck's still loose. And the Colts can't find it as the Greyhounds will move this one out. Jeremy Martin gets it at center ice. Still with it. Passes it over to McKenzie. McKenzie to the net. Martin can't reach for it. And the puck comes back to the blue line. Greyhounds keep it deep, but Barrie with an outstanding opportunity, but somehow that one stayed out. So Kayshawn Aitchison now settling things down a bit here. He'll take it out from behind his own net up to Armstrong. That pass at center ice deflected. No icing. Armstrong, or Hemming rather, back behind the Greyhounds net. He loses it. Travis Hayes on the far side. Hayes, he'll leave the Sioux zone across to Chase Reed. Puck's bouncing. That was nearly offside. Greyhounds trying to come back for it. McConnell Barker in his own zone being chased by Stewart. McConnell Barker behind his own net. Stewart on the forecheck. Nearly took that one. Brady Martin now with it for the Sioux. He'll pass that up to Magnosa. Magnosa enters the attacking zone up the middle. His shot deflected. Martin after it now for the Greyhounds. Brady Martin, high slot, still with it. Hanser knocked that one away. Hanser with the check, gets to the line. Stewart gets it out. Gardner can't get a stick on it. Now he will. Sends this one deep. Around the boards it goes. Back after it now for the Sioux. That's Winkelhofer. He'll get that to the line as Aitchison throws a hit. Now it's Hayes who'll skate this one forward, finds Reed on the wing, back to Hayes. His shot stopped by Hrebeck. Puck comes around the boards. Chase Reed has it deep for the Sioux. That pass is deflected. Crombie will get it to the line and out. There to collect it now for the Greyhounds is Slolensky. He'll send it back to Winkelhofer. Back to Slolensky. Slolensky up to Brown at center ice. They'll enter the zone here. Greyhounds send it deep. It's taken away by Aitchison. We're now past the midway point of the first period. Still 1-0 Sault Ste. Marie. Shots heavily favoring the Greyhounds 7-4. Aitchison, he's taking his time behind his own net. Now he'll give that one up. Passmore, up to the blue line, picked up by Asadorian. Alex Asadorian skates this one in for the Colts, gets by Brown, drops it back. Desidero shot, stopped by Miller. Puck goes into the netting and out of play as the Colts, I think, trying to slow the pace down a bit here as this Greyhounds team off to the races.
Well, you better be on your horse, but it's been quite the pace here early on in this one. And in that top line of Barrie doing a nice job of a couple of chances there down low and in around the net. What a pace to this one. I mean, up and down the ice.
This almost reminds me of the game down in Brantford a couple of weeks ago where that just end-to-end action, and kind of getting that again here in Sault Ste. Marie as Edgar keeps the puck in the Greyhound zone. Pangratish will send that one across. Sault Ste. Marie moving it up. Evans up the middle. Armstrong can't get a stick on it. Greyhounds trying to tuck it around. Hrebeck makes the save. Trying to send that one around was Quinn McKenzie. Colts get this one out to center ice. Laus finds it now for the Sioux. Asadorian sends it back into his own zone. Hanser comes back after it. Off the end boards to Armstrong. He'll send that back to his defense partner. Hanser up the middle. Asadorian couldn't get a stick on it. And that's going to be an icing call again against the Barrie Colts.
Barrie Colts coming to this one. And when you're on that win streak, talking to Dylan Smoskowitz, just really proud of his club and the way they responded. You lose 6 in a row and you come back and you win 6 straight. And he says you find out a lot about a team with their character, and they're able to do that last night and back-to-back wins over Sudbury. But hey, run into a buzzsaw tonight, this Sioux team here early on especially.
Yeah, it's a much different team, the Sioux Greyhounds, compared to the Sudbury Wolves. That's another icing call against Barrie, but you mentioned it. You get that 6-game winning streak, and right now the Colts 2 points back of the Niagara Ice Dogs for top spot in the Central Division. Quite the turnaround.
Talking to Dylan Smoskowitz, said, look, I thought we did some things really well during that 6-game losing streak, and I think they played well 5-on-5. Special teams penalty kill obviously was a big problem early on, not able to take advantage of some of their games on home ice, but it's a long season, and it goes right now, a good run. And Dan, you want to continue that here, and you have to be ready here tonight. The Greyhounds have certainly come out flying.
Well, we're past the quarter mark of the regular season. The Greyhounds win it off the draw. Magnosa at the point. Goes to Winkelhofer. Back to Magnosa. Magnosa takes the shots, and Hrebeck will cover it up. There's a crowd in front as Hrebeck not too happy with Brady Martin right on the doorstep as now we get pushing and shoving. Looks like we're going to get at least one penalty out of this as the crowd migrating now behind the Barrie Colts net. So we'll have to wait and see who's going to get the penalty here. It might be going against the Sioux Greyhounds.
Again, we haven't seen a lot of this physical stuff after the whistle. I mean, it's been a great pace, but that Barrie Colts power play, another 2 goals last night, gets an opportunity here, down 1-0.
So it's Brady Martin in the penalty box for roughing, and this Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. Barrie Colts power play right now 4th overall in the OHL, operating at 28%, while the penalty kill for the Sioux 9th at 79.5%. Colts get it off the draw. That one hits the linesman. Colts trying to get to it. Brad Gardner behind the net for Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin from the corner. He'll send it back to the point. Cole Emerton quickly up to Aitchison. That got by him. Beaudoin down low. Back to Emerton. Across to Hemming. Emil Hemming off the boards to Gardner. In front to Aitchison. Aitchison shot. The net scores! Cole Beaudoin! What a setup as Landon Miller came across but couldn't get enough of it. And the Barrie Colts have tied it at 1.
Well, of late we've seen Cole Beaudoin set up Kayshawn Aitchison, and this time Aitchison returning the favor. 3 quick goals by H in the last night, and it's Cole Bowden on the one-timer as Miller got across, got a piece of it, but not enough to keep that one out of the net. And Bowden's run continues now. That point streak up to 9 games for Cole Bowden as he continues to move up the OHL scoring among the OHL scoring leaders.
Yeah, Cole Bowden coming into tonight's game, 4th overall in points. And he'll just add to that total as it's a 1-1 hockey game. Puck goes into the Greyhounds zone. They'll send this one out to center ice. Emerton gets it at his own blue line. Emerton up to Hemming. Emil Hemming at center loses the handle of it. Greyhounds trying to recover. Puck sitting there. Hemming will collect it. Hemming across. Salandra can't get a stick on it. Now it's Sharon. He's going to go for a skate. Jordan Sharon enters the attacking zone inside the blue line, but that doesn't go too far as the Colts get it out. Here's Joe Salandra through center. Salandra weaving, trying to get around Winkelhofer. Around the Greyhounds net. Salandra will go back to the blue line for Eliasson. Eliasson Aitchison, one-timer, and that one goes well out of play. And we'll get a face-off with 7:17 remaining. But the Barrie Colts power play unit comes up clutch once again here to tie this game.
Aitchison and Brad Gardner get the assist on that one. And, Dylan Smoskowitz praised assistant coach Dennis Martindale, the work he's done with this power play. They're just absolutely red hot late. And they continue here tonight.
Face-off won by the Colts. Passmore sends us down low. A Greyhound player lost a stick. Low at the shot. So Miller got a piece of it. And that's going to go out of play. As suddenly there's a bit of a shift of momentum here at GFL Memorial Gardens.
Colts able to turn around shots now. 8-7 in favor of the Sioux. It's 6-1 at one point for the Hounds. And this little play there by Carlo comes around the net. He's short side, but Miller gets the shoulder on it.
And that's going to go out of play once more as Pentritic was trying to get that one out of the zone. The puck rolled up the glass, so it won't be delay a game. And they'll just bring this face-off to the left of Miller once again.
Well, you survived the storm. You give up that early goal. There's all sorts of Greyhounds pressure early in that opening 10 minutes, but the Colts have turned things around here. They're doing it with hard work and some pressure down low, keeping the Hounds pinned.
There's a chance for Newton as Miller able to swallow that one up. This fourth line, we haven't seen them too much tonight, but they're keeping the Greyhounds pinned in their own zone there.
Well, they got a big goal last night in that third period with William Snide and some good work there by Newton. He finds himself in the slot, turns around, quick shot. Miller takes that one in, but then for Bear, when you play these 3-3 games and 3 nights, and you need production from all 4 lines, you need solid shifts, and Colts get there here early on.
Face-off won by the Colts. Armstrong at the point. Fans on the pass attempt. Crombie's there. Crombie up to Gardner. Gardner waits, tucks it around. What a save by Miller. Desperation save there from the Sioux netminder. Now the Greyhounds come back the other way. Nignosa stopped by Hanser. Hanser will get this one out to center. Gardner with it. Passing that one ahead to Bodie Stewart. Stewart on the wing. Across to Crombie. Scores! Calvin Crombie able to chip that one over the stretched leg of Landon Miller. And wow, it's now 2-1 for the Barrie Colts.
Colts, I mean, that is just great work by that line. And to start with Stewart able to get that puck up and then a perfect pass right onto the stick.
Well, that was pretty close to being offside. You had Bodie Stewart and Calvin Crombie at the blue line. It doesn't look like the Greyhounds are going to challenge. But Calvin Crombie giving the Barrie Colts their first lead of the night. As it's now 2-1. And for Crombie, that's now 5 goals on the season. Puck sent deep into the Greyhound zone. Blocked there by Desiderio. Reed sending this to the near side. Tied up there. Acidorian is trying to dig it free. Greyhounds will get it out. Kayshawn Aitchison picks it up at center ice. He's backtracking in his own zone off the boards. Desiderio continues that one deep. Miller out of his net to play it. Landon Miller, he'll play it to the near wing. After it on the near side. That's Brady Smith. He'll get this one out down the ice. Picked up by the Colts. Eliasson gives this one up to Emerton. Cole Emerton reaches center. He's going to dump it in. Miller again out of his net to play it. He'll send that to his defense. Selensky skating this one ahead. Reaches center ice. Selensky entering the attacking zone. Spins. Fires. Stopped by Horevic. That's going to go to the corner. Brown takes the hit. That's going to go around the boards. Off the points, O'Brien. O'Brien losing it there. Edgar gets it out. Puck's going to go down into the Sioux zone. Greyhounds back to Pickett. Sharon up to Brown. He's going to peel back into his own zone, facing pressure from Beaudoin. Puck goes to the far side. Greyhounds with it. O'Brien receives the pass at center ice. He's going to dump this one in. Off the end boards, Hrebeck leaves it for Eliasson. Eliasson quickly to Hanser. Hanser back to Eliasson. He'll play it behind his own net, facing some pressure there. Decides to go back to Hanser. Hanser on the far wing, up to Salandra. He'll exit the zone, sends it ahead. Salandra picks it up. Goes around McConnell Barker, trying to drop it back to Beaudoin, but that ends up in the corner. Beaudoin kicks it ahead for Hemming. Emil Hemming to the blue line. Hanser, Hemming, inside the blue line, takes the shot, and Miller makes the save as he'll hold on for the faceoff. But Justin Hanser, someone that we're seeing quite a bit out there tonight, having a pretty decent game once again.
Well, he's getting rewarded with more ice time, and this Colts team, talk about turning things around here in this first period. And, going back to that goal, just nice little job for Gardner there to avoid it, get it up to Bodie Stewart at center ice, and then Stewart takes it over, and you can see Crombie going to the net. And just great patience by Bodie Stewart as he waited for Crombie to go to the net and then just put it right on the tape there. No chance for Miller as Crombie able to get that one up and over Miller in front of the net. But what a turnaround in this first period. It was all Greyhounds, and the Colts answering back here.
And it didn't look good for Barrie to start this hockey game. Just the wave after wave of attack from Sault Ste. Marie. They were up 7-1 in shots at one point. They had a goal from Jeremy Martin, and I'm still not sure how it actually got into the net. But what a response here from Barrie to capitalize on the power play, and now they have the momentum.
No, and I know I keep kind of repeating myself here, but
that's okay.
Cole Beaudoin, I mean, this guy, does he have an extra pack of batteries in there? Because that guy is up and he just never stops working. And it doesn't matter where he is on the ice, always attacking in the forecheck. I mean, back in his own zone. I mean, it's a lot to watch this guy play hockey.
Well, the top six of the Barrie Colts now just getting the job done as Passmore runs over Louse. Puck's deep in the Greyhound zone. Louse gets up. Passmore delivers another hit. Puck will escape the zone. Brad Gardner from his own blue line ahead for Bodie Stewart. Stewart leaving it there for Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison on the wing. Takes the shot. That goes over the net. Comes back to the blue line. Quinn McKenzie's there trying to get it out. Blocked by Gardner. Taken away by Aitchison. He'll re-enter the zone. Kayshawn Aitchison. Backhand pass. That's picked off. Good stick work there by Spencer Evans. Now it's Martin up the wing. Jeremy Martin. Already one goal tonight. They'll stop there. Crombie putting on the pressure, and Crombie takes it away from the Greyhound. Calvin Crombie reaches center ice. He'll carry this one in for the Barrie Colts. Crombie has that one poked away. Loose puck. McKenzie will find it for the Sioux. Gets it out to center. Eliasson will just put it back to his defense. Cole Emerton backtracking. Goes back to Eliasson. Gabriel Eliasson over to Cole Beaudoin. Beaudoin enters the attacking zone. That's knocked off his stick. And that's sent over the glass and out of play. And this looks to be a delay of game penalty against Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, Cole's just relentless. And now, how about Calvin Crombie? You got Kayshawn Aitchison pitching. Crombie able to get back, steal the puck, and then get it going back the other way. And this Colts power play already 1-for-1 tonight with an opportunity to add to this lead here late in this first period.
It's Marco Mignosa in the penalty box here for the Greyhounds. This Barrie Colts power play brought to you by Frontline Hockey Apparel. You can find them at frontlinehockeyapparel.com. Colts win the face-off. It's in the corner. Gardner in front to Aitchison. Fans on it. Second attempt goes over the net. Emerton at the point. He'll send that down low to Beaudoin. Aitchison can't get a stick on it, and the Greyhounds will get it out. Travis Hayes short-handed. He'll enter the attacking zone. Hayes trying to get around Emerton, but he loses the handle of it. Hemming comes up with it now for the Colts. He's going to skate this one out. Across to Gardner. Chips that one into the Sioux zone. First one on it will be Solomon. He's going to send it around the boards. It goes off Hemming. Solomon fans on the clearing attempt. Puck's in the corner. Good work there by Gardner to take it away. Hemming up to Beaudoin in the corner. Cole Beaudoin looking at his options, trying to get away from Solomon. Beaudoin back to the blue line. Here's Emerton. Hemming, far point towards the net. Gardner trying to go back to Emerton, but reading that play was Brady Smith. He's going to go for a skate short-handed. Smith to the net. Backhand stopped by Hrebeck. Lost the handle of it as he wanted to play it. Ends up back behind his own net. 56 seconds remaining in the power play here for the Barrie Colts. Gardner's just going to leave it for Aitchison as the power play unit will change up. Armstrong. He'll skate this one ahead for Barrie. Reaches center, drops it back. Salandra. He'll skate this one through the neutral zone, up to Crombie, back to Salandra. That ends up behind the Greyhounds' net. Brown gets that to the line, not out. Now it'll squeak across. Salandra's there to play it. Gets it back into the Sioux zone. Greyhounds with possession. 25 seconds left in the power play. Desiderio can't get a stick on it. Puck's bouncing at center. Asadorian now with it. Gives it up to Salandra. He'll skate this one in. Gets by Reed. Hits the brakes. Salandra looks at the blue line. Now passes it back to Armstrong. Near side Asadorian. Alex Asadorian down low to Desiderio. Fanned on the quick pass attempt. Puck goes to the far side. Salandra to Armstrong. Quickly to Crombie. His pass is blocked. And that puck will escape the zone, and the power play has come to an end. So the Colts now 1 for 2 on the man advantage as they get it back into the Sioux zone. Greyhounds trying to move it up quickly. Sharon couldn't get a stick on it, so that's going to be icing against the Sioux with 1:20 remaining in the first period.
Pace of this one, Emil Hemming along the boards there, took a stick in the face and grabbed his face there and was able to recover and kick the puck, keep it into the zone, and then get back right back into the play. And guys, they're pretty tough. They take a beating, but keep on ticking.
It's what a change from the first half of this period to the second as the Barrie Colts, things just going their way right now. Again, Schneid takes it behind the Sioux net. Now Laus will get it to the line. Eliason with the hit. Now the Greyhounds will clear it. Not enough for icing, however, as Carter Lowe will come back to play it. We're in the final minute of the first period. Barrie Colts up by a score of 2-1. Your goal scorers, Cole Beaudoin and Calvin Crombie. Eliason deep in his own zone. 46 seconds left in the period. Puck's deflected, so no icing. Solomon, first one on it, takes a hit from Carter Lowe along the boards. Schneid there to keep this one in for the Colts. Lowe takes a bump from Solomon. Greyhounds regain possession. Carrying that one is Slensky. Slensky takes a hit from Newton. Those two battle in the corner. 26 seconds now remaining. Greyhounds get it to the line, and avoiding the hit was Brady Martin. Greyhounds get it deep. Aitchison turning it around up to Lowe. Lowe will send it back into the Sioux zone. Solomon quickly across. Brady Martin up to the loose puck. Gets it at center. He'll flip this one into the Barrie zone. Hanser, first one on it for the Colts. Loses the handle of it. Greyhounds regain possession. Passes out in front. Hayes with it. Takes to the corner. Gives it up to Brady Martin. Back to the blue line. But that's going to escape the zone right at the buzzer. As the Greyhounds started this game with all the pressure, all the control. But they couldn't hold on to it there as the power play really changed the dynamic of this hockey game. And now the Barrie Colts find themselves up 2-1.
Well, Brady Martin at the end of the first period, I mean, the train was a-coming. Gabriel Eliason, who looked to line him up, and Martin just got out of the way at the last second. But what a turnaround to that first period by the Barrie Colts. And, you know, a big part of it, obviously, the forecheck, very strong in the latter stage of that first period. It kept the Sioux defenseman pressure pinned in their own zone. And as well, too, again, that commitment to the 200-foot game. You're seeing forwards like Crombie come back. Aitchison makes a run. You got guys coming back, covering up. And it's what you want to see in the opening 20 minutes.
But it's wild, that swing of momentum. It was 7-1 shots for the Sioux Greyhounds. At the end of the first period, shots now 11-10 for the Barrie Colts. Obviously, the two power plays helped. But still, the power play unit continues to click, and we get that goal from Cole Beaudoin.
Yeah, and they're getting efforts from all the lines tonight. That fourth line of Newton, Lowe and Schneid there, just great forecheck pressure has kept the Sioux pinned in their own zone again. But, that's what you want. I mean, look, you knew the Sioux was going to come out in that opening 10 minutes. They were determined. The Colts, rode the wave. Okay, they got, they got the one goal, and they had a couple of other chances. But it's great patience. And, Dylan Smoskowitz has talked about this team, the ability to kind of take a punch and then get right back up and deliver a few of their own.
So the Barrie Colts up by a score of 2-1 after the first period here in Sault Ste. Marie. And before the game, Josh McCann had a chance to catch up with Hagen Bach, who earned his first career OHL win last night. He was all smiles at the end of that game against the Sudbury Wolves, and he was pretty excited to talk with Josh as we'll catch up with that chat here.
Well, joined by Colts goaltender Hagen Bach. Hagen, last night was your first ever OHL game, and it ended with your first career OHL win. How did that feel?
I mean, honestly, it's hard to even put the feeling into words. You know, it's a dream come true. It's nice to be able to see some of the hard work, late nights, early mornings, pull through, and you know, such a great group of guys to help me through it. So,
What's your first OHL overnight trip? What's the experience been like last night in Sudbury and today in Sault Ste. Marie?
it's been great. You know, like I said, like it's a bunch of good guys, and I'm very fortunate enough to know them through the start of the season and everything, and good times, good memories for sure. But it's also nice to see the professional aspect of the OHL, how well everything's ran, and kind of be able to experience it at a young age, and hopefully have a future in the league and be able to experience it more.
Well, you've been splitting time in Barrie and Collingwood. What's it been like kind of being with two different teams, being around more players?
Yeah, I think it's been a good thing, actually, been able to see, different types of hockey, different brands, but also, meet a bunch of guys, and kind of, my first year of junior, so being able to build relationships, get used to junior hockey in two different ways, and really just have a great first year. It's been awesome. I've loved being in both spots.
Well, what's your schedule kind of like during a week when you've got to split time sometime in Collingwood with practices and games, and of course practices and games with the Colts?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much with Collingwood throughout the majority of the week. My main billet house is there, so I'll spend the time there, go through practices, workouts, everything, games with them, and then whenever the Colts need me, or if I ever have an off day, some open time, I'll drive. It's a really nice, quick drive to Barrie, so it makes it super easy. Get there, ski with the team, and I like to spend as much time as possible between both spots. Any chance I get to be with the Colts, I'm not going to say no. So it's been nice having the time, being able to balance and everything.
Now you've your other goaltending partners here in Barrie, Ben Hrebic and Arvin Jaswell. What's it been like getting to know them and getting to experience the OHL with them?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I couldn't have two better guys to look up to and have as mentors. I mean, they're just tremendous goalies. Such a bright future in hockey for both of them, and even just hockey aside, just great people. Like, really, they've been so nice to welcome me with open arms, show me the way, kind of, if I have ever a question, I'm never afraid to ask them. So that's honestly made my adjustment. It's been so easy having them, and something I'm super thankful for.
Is there any game on the schedule you're looking forward to, a certain team that you're really excited to play?
Honestly, not really. I go into every night just, looking to have fun and give my team a chance to win. And I think, not really knowing where I can be any day is kind of a gift, I think. Being able to have that spontaneousness and be ready to go whenever. I think, just making sure I go through my best effort every night, and no matter who we're playing, I love.
Now, you're the backup goaltender tonight. I know a lot of people wonder what a starting goaltender does to prepare, but what does a backup goaltender do to prepare? You may not get into the game tonight off the start, but you got to still be ready in case Hrebic goes down with an injury or gets pulled.
Yeah, I think what I do, honestly, is I do the exact same warm-up routine. Proper preparation prevents poor performance is something I live by, and, making sure building that consistency going into every practice and even every game, having the same warm-up, really make sure you're always dialed in, and helps build consistency not only off the ice, but on the ice. It'll translate.
Well, Hagen, thanks for doing this. Congrats on your first win.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
So that was Barrie Colts backup goaltender for tonight, Hagen Bach, and his conversation with Josh McCann. It's the first intermission at the GFL Memorial Gardens. Barrie Colts have a 2-1 advantage. We're just going to take a quick break, and we will return with the chats. If you have any comments, or if you want to start a conversation, feel free to leave those comments down below as we continue to this one. The Barrie Colts up 2-1 over the Sault Greyhounds. So it's the first intermission in Sault Ste. Marie between the Barrie Colts and the Soo Greyhounds. The Barrie Colts right now up 2-1 after that first period, and we talked about it, just that pace of the first period was just outstanding to see from this Greyhounds team. They've got the legs, they've got the power up front, but Ben Hrebeck standing tall after being outshot 7-1 to start that first period.
Yeah, a couple of big stops, and you get a couple of breaks there where puck's not able to get through to the net. But again, for Barrie, able to kind of ride that wave, and you give up the one goal, but you come back. What is your power play? Comes through for you again with a big goal, and then some great chances there. And Crombie, just a minute 31 apart, adds to and gives you the first lead of the game. But what a first period!
So we've got some time here. So if you want to hop on the chats as we continue this first intermission, feel free to put your comments down below. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. Starting off, the Niagara Ice Dogs down 1-0 to the Erie Otters. Niagara right now 2 points up on the Barrie Colts in the Central Division. So big game to watch there. The Flint Firebirds, who put up 9 goals last night against North Bay, right now leading Guelph by a score of 3-2. The Flint Firebirds offense has come to life. And then in Owen Sound, this is a big one. The Attack and the Knights at the Bay Shore. That game right now tied at 1. The Saginaw Spirit North Bay Battalion also tied at 1. The Windsor Spitfires after the first period are up 3-0 on the Brampton Steelheads. And of course, here in Sault Ste. Marie, it's a 2-1 score for the Barrie Colts. But those Flint Firebirds, what a game last night. I think it was Kostov who had 4 goals for the Flint Firebirds.
That's a team can put the puck in the net. I mean, again, that offense just continues to roll. And all of a sudden, you look at the West, and obviously you got the big guns, the Windsor Spitfires, the London Knights, and the Kitchener Rangers. But, Owen Sound Attack right there as well. And now you get the Flint Firebirds playing really some improved hockey.
Well, we're also now starting to see injuries impacting teams around the Ontario Hockey League. The Owen Sound Attack dealing now with a couple of big injuries. We know Crawford, he's going to be out for a significant amount of time. And for Dale DeGray saying that he doesn't want to panic right now, but they are exploring maybe some moves to bolster that lineup. But this is that time of year. We're now past the quarter mark. You're starting to see what these teams are made of. And I think we might be seeing a few more moves.
Yeah, I think so. And there's already been a couple of big deals right early on, Wasslin and moving to London. And, of course, that big deal between the Oshawa Generals and the Brantford Bulldogs. But, again, I mean, that's an opportunity. I think teams are starting to figure out, what they got, what the chances are, what they need. And, those are the big things, the needs. And earlier, I think you make a big deal like that. You're able to make that big deal. It works out better for chemistry. You're able to kind of get guys into the lineup and stuff. But, obviously as well, I think it's going to be a busy trade deadline. I mean, there's a lot of contenders when you look at a lot of open spots. And the East, everybody kind of looks at Brantford and, who's going to kind of slot in behind that. But in the West, I mean, you got the London Knights, Kitchener Rangers, Windsor Spitfires, Owen Sound Attack, playing some good hockey. So it's going to be really interesting.
And we should find out before the end of the month who's going to host the Memorial Cup next year, because that's the big question mark right now. Do the Kitchener Rangers be buyers this year, or do they wait until next year as the host of a Memorial Cup? And we know the Guelph Storm, another team that's kind of in that similar position. They weren't expected to be a big contender this year, but still, that decision for Memorial Cup between those two organizations is going to go a long way into the moves. And I almost wonder if that's going to be a domino effect in the Western Conference.
Yeah, you look at Guelph and a little bit of a slow start and starting to play some better hockey of late. Obviously, the Kitchener Rangers, I mean, that's going to be a big decision. Obviously, Kitchener, they've done a wonderful job of hosting Memorial Cups. Guelph has hosted one before, and it's been a while, so looking for the opportunity there. But, really, like you mentioned, Mike, it really does a thing. What are teams willing to do this year? But anytime you get a chance to win, I mean, it's hard not to do anything. I mean, the Rangers, as long as you got a few assets, obviously you want to keep some for next year, especially if you're hosting the Memorial Cup. But you want to take a run this year as well.
And now when you focus on the Eastern Conference, you touched on it, the Brantford Bulldogs, seen as that team cut above the rest with that lineup, but you need to have someone else that's going to be winning the Central Division. So right now that seems to be between Barrie and Niagara. So when you look at what's going on in that East Division, you want to avoid Brantford at all costs come playoff time. So do you become buyers, or is it a soft buy? Is it just maybe tweak the lineup just a little bit here?
Well, that's a big question, right? How much are you willing to pay to make a move to get to that conference final and give yourselves a chance against the Brantford Bulldogs? And Again, as well, they've already made one big deal. They're going to make another, at least maybe one or two deals. And that's the question. You got to get your assets. But I think anytime you get the opportunity to go deep in the playoffs, you want to give yourselves a legit chance. And I think the Niagara Ice Dogs, they're looking to take a step up. That Ottawa 67s team has played much better hockey this season, off to a nice start there. And again, for, Peterborough Pete's were another team that are looking to take the run here. It's like an assembly line behind us, Mike.
Well, I'm kind of glad
Back for it.
I'm kind of glad we have the webcam because people can actually see what we're dealing with here at Press Row GFL Memorial Gardens. The last time I was here to cover a hockey game, this space wasn't as tight, but it is such a great venue here, GFL Memorial Gardens. I know they want to maybe at one point host a Memorial Cup up here in Sault Ste. Marie. I think they would do an amazing job, but haven't had that chance since the early 90s, the last time they hosted up here.
Yeah, you talk about the physicality down on the ice. There's some up here, some good hits up here as well.
Well, they had to put Josh McCann in the back row here, so it's every man for himself, it seems.
He's might not be in a bad spot, though. He doesn't have anybody behind him. So
It's true. But we're making the best of it. We're about 2.5 minutes away from the start of the second period. The Barrie Colts up by 1. It's going to be an interesting transition here because last night in Sudbury, the Barrie Colts dominated that first period. But come the second, we started to see Sudbury take control of the hockey game. So for Dylan Smoskowitz and the coaching staff, obviously, they want to see that consistency and not fall into that habit like we saw yesterday.
yeah, again, how do you come out here? I mean, you ended that first period fairly strong. Barrie did. You want to continue that here in the second period. You got that 1-goal lead. You want to build upon it. The Greyhounds, hey, they're still got, facing 2 straight losses here on home ice, looking to bounce back and get off to a good start here in the second period. So the Colts answered the bell in that first period, and we'll see how they do in the second period.
Well, the Greyhounds, after tonight, they have games coming up on the road against the Windsor Spitfires, the Kitchener Rangers, and the London Knights. So the schedule doesn't get any easier for the Sioux after tonight. So they want to get back in the win column here and try and snap this small 2-game slide before facing some pretty stiff competition in the Western Conference. So the team's coming back out on the ice. We're getting ready for the second period of play with the Barrie Colts up 2-1. It's been an entertaining game so far here between the Colts and the Greyhounds. We'll have to wait and see what kind of start we get in the second period, because at the start of the first period, it was all Sault Ste. Marie. They were just coming in waves. That top line with Brady Martin and Marco Magnosa and Travis Hayes just relentless with that attack. But the Colts, they were able to weather that storm. Great goaltending from Ben Horevic. And the Colts benefiting on the power play with that one from Cole Bodwin, and eventually getting that second goal from Calvin Crombie, making it 2-1. So just about ready to go for the start of the second period. Right now, just making a quick switch when it comes to the broadcast booth, as Gene Pereira will now be switching places with Josh McCann. And you didn't have to deal with everyone going behind you. You were in a pretty comfortable spot.
Well, my knees were sticking out, so then I had to move back a bit, but not as much as you guys had to. I didn't know if I was going to make it through here. I thought, oh no, there's more people coming.
Oh yeah, no, we've got a parade of people coming through here, because where they have us in the broadcast booth, we're at the far left where the staircase is to come in, and you've got the off-ice officials, you've got the TV broadcast crew, you've got video coaches, everybody, but we're not going to complain because we still have a fantastic view of the ice here at GFL Memorial Gardens, and we're going to have a pretty entertaining second period, I think, between the Colts and the Greyhounds.
Well, it was definitely a fun first period. I mean, after the first about 6 minutes of that game, I was worried that we were heading towards blowout territory. Colts didn't get off to a great start at all, but they calmed things down. They get the power play goal thanks to Cole Bodwin, and I think they've been the better team since then.
So the second period underway as the Greyhounds get it back in their own zone out to center ice. Travis Hayes with possession. Hayes will enter the attacking zone on the wing. Takes the shot. Quick save. Rebound. That goes off the post. Marco Magnosa strikes iron for the Greyhounds. Colts moving up. Here's Hemming on the wing. Takes the shot. Stopped by Miller. Salandra sending it around the net. Finds Emil Hemming. Hemming comes back to the blue line. Gives it up to Aitchison. Aitchison trying to keep that in the zone, but that's going to cross the line. And it's a delayed offside now against the Barrie Colts. Greyhounds, though, send it down the ice. And that's going to be icing now against Sault Ste. Marie. But what a quick start. Marco Magnosa striking iron there for the Greyhounds.
Well, it was started there by Hayes bringing it into the zone and was able to find Minosa. Puts it past Rebic, but just off the bar. Colts tried to come back the other way, couldn't really get a chance on Miller. Yeah.
So we'll get this face-off now to the left of Landon Miller. Set to take the face-off is Brad Gardner up against Brady Martin. Face-off won by the Colts. Puck sitting there. Backhand. Landon Miller's down, and Gardner will tuck it around. What patience from Brad Gardner. Gets that puck off the draw, tucks it around a sprawled-out Miller. And the Barrie Colts now up 3-1.
Well, Crombie had the initial opportunity, it got blocked off, and then Gardner comes in and is able to wait out Miller and get it around him. And for Brad Gardner, I mean, guy that's been so strong for the Barrie Colts all season long. He's got another 3 points here tonight, and we're just in the first minute here of the second period.
I feel like a lot of the attention goes to Cole Beaudoin and Kayshawn Aitchison, which is their remarkable play of late with their point streaks. But Brad Gardner, he's been so consistent this season. Now 13 goals on the season. Colts win the draw. They'll send it into the Sioux zone. Picked up by Crombie. Sends it right back into the Greyhound zone. Back behind his own net. The Greyhounds sending that one around was Travis Hayes. At the point, Eliason had it for a moment. Ends up at center ice. Bodie Stewart takes it back into his own zone. Gives it up to Gardner. Gardner from his own blue line. Loses it to Quinn McKenzie. McKenzie trying to carry it in. Taken away by Stewart. Puck comes to the near side. Eliason takes it away from the Greyhound forward. Crombie getting this one to center ice. He'll flip this one into the Sioux zone. Back after it is Solomon. Solomon. He'll just send this down the ice. He was facing pressure, and that's going to be an icing call. I didn't think Solomon realized nobody was on that left side.
I mean, either. That Barrie second line, though, Gardner, Crombie, and Stewart, listening to Brad Gardner's interview the other night at home with Thomas West, and he talked about how those are the two guys he's pretty close to on this team. Him and Calvin Crombie go out to lunch practically every day, and the chemistry from off the ice between those guys kind of showed on the ice. They've been really strong over these last couple games.
Well, for Brad Gardner, he's been one of the most chill players on this Barrie Colts team. We see him, well, today we saw him quite often at the hotel, here at the arena, and every time he's just so chill.
It's like he was following us.
It seemed like that. So the puck goes deep into the Greyhound zone. Edgar after it for Barrie. Puck's deflected. Loose puck. Desiderio has that bounce over his stick. Greyhounds get it out. Carrying this one ahead. That's Sharon. Strong will send that one deep. After it is Armstrong. He's taken in the corner by Sharon. Christopher Brown now with it. He'll send that to the far side. McConnell Barker drops it back to Sharon. Sharon settles it down, takes the shot, scores! Jordan Sharon fired it. I don't think Ben Horevic was able to see that shot. And it's now 3-2.
Well, what a start to the year for Jordan Sharon. Already goal 15 last year. He only had 10 goals total, and Horevic, had no idea where that puck was coming, as there was McConnell Baker standing right in his crease, making sure he had no idea where that was. One of the best screens I've seen this year, and it's Sioux Greyhounds fighting back and making this one a game.
So for Jordan Sharon, that's now 15 goals on the season. That ties him with Kayshawn Aitchison for second in goal scoring in the Ontario Hockey League. So the Barrie Colts lead now down to 1. Greyhounds in their own zone. Newton took it away. Blocked the clearing attempt. Schneid takes the shot. That's going to go wide of the net. And that puck's going to sail back out to the neutral zone. Aitchison across to Passmore. He'll send that one forward. Schneid tips that one into the Sioux zone. Brown back to pick it up. He'll send it to the near side. McConnell Barker. Long pass up the center. Svansky. He's tied up. Following up, Sharon. His shot stopped by Horevic. Another chance. And McConnell Barker puts it wide. Schneid. He's in a battle there with McConnell Barker trying to get it out of the zone. Puck's loose. Passmore puts it back into the battle. Schneid gets the line, not out. Greyhounds with possession. McConnell Barker takes the shots, and Horevic with the glove save as Kayshawn Aitchison in a battle in front with Brady Smith as the Greyhounds starting to step it up again.
Well, kind of similar to how the first period started, where it was all Greyhounds firing left and right. They could have easily had a 2-0 lead in this one. They missed an open net early in the first period that allowed the Colts to climb back into this game. Barrie had a 2-goal lead just a minute ago, but Sioux fighting back, and it's 1-goal game here.
Scramble draw to the right of Hrebeck, taken there by the Colts. Emerton sends it ahead. Hemming trying to get it out of the zone, taken away there by the Greyhounds. At the point, kept in by Hayes. Along the boards, Mignosa can't get a stick on it. Hayes into the slot. He's tied up. Colts trying to kick it back. Reed gets it at the point. His shot deflected, ends up in the near corner. Hayes and Eliasson collide. Along the board, Salandra. He's taken down. Reed, he can't get that pass to go, and the puck's going to go back into the Sioux zone. Hayes sends it off the end boards. At the Greyhound blue line. Hayes chasing after it. He's at the end of his shift. He's going to go off for a change. Eliasson will send it back. Emerton behind his own net. He'll set things up here for the Barrie Colts. Gives it up to Gabriel Eliasson. Eliasson setting things up here for the Colts. Sends that one up. Emerton on the wing through center. That's taken away by Aerosmith. Doesn't go far. And the Colts dump it in. Greyhounds pick it up deep in their own zone. Reed, long stretch pass to Aerosmith. Smith, though, he can't control the pass. Armstrong ahead, taken away by Aerosmith. Colts again with possession. Skating ahead is Calvin Crombie. Crombie, he'll skate this one into the zone. That got away from him. Solomon sends it around the boards. Puck's at the blue line. Greyhounds move it up. Smith has it knocked away by Hanser, and that's going to be offside against the Sioux.
Well, the Greyhounds had such a great start to their season, and they didn't even have Brady Martin during that time. So when he returned from Nashville, I think the thought was that this was a team that was going to maybe get even better and show that they were one of the top teams in the Western Conference. But as of late, they've kind of actually cooled off since Martin returned in a 4-5 run. Right now, they've lost 2 straight. So definitely highly motivated to get back in this one and not make it 3 straight.
Well, they got a big road trip coming up here as they want to end this slide quickly. As Valensky sends this one in for the Greyhounds, taken away by Hanser. He's going to drop this one around. Crombie on the far side, gives it up to Gardner. Down the ice, Bodie Stewart chasing after the bouncing puck. It rolls deep into the Greyhound zone. Stewart taken to the boards by Solomon. Greyhounds get it. That's going to be sent around the boards. Walensky on the far side now gets it out. Sharon has that one go off his stick. Greyhounds enter the attacking zone. Mignosa with a shot. Actually, that was Christopher Brown. That was blocked. McConnell Barker back to Brown. He's going to put it back behind the Barrie net. Aitchison takes the hit. He's going to play it to the opposite corner. McConnell Barker, the only one there. Greyhounds defenseman down low. Brody McConnell Barker behind the net, tied up by Passmore. Those two continue to battle. Bouncing puck. Greyhounds send it back to McKenzie at the blue line. Here's Pankratish. His shot deflected as Hrebeck had a huge crowd in front, but he was still able to kick that one aside. And now the Barrie Colts are going to ice the puck with 14:32 remaining here in the second period.
Couple more nice opportunities there by the line of Brown and them, and Sioux quickly responding with Martin, Mignosa, and Hayes as they try and tie this game with some tired Colts out on the ice.
Well, the Sioux Greyhounds have suddenly taken over the shot clock totals, now 15-13 in favor of the Greyhounds as Brady Martin takes the draw, wins this one back. At the point, that's Chase Reed. Reed riding the blue line, sends it across. There's a battle in front of the net. Fans want a penalty as Hayes was taken down by Passmore. Play continues. Evans sends it to the near side. Stewart trying to get to it. That's taken away by Reed. Backhand pass to the point. Shot. That's blocked by Aitchison. Hayes across. That's blocked by Stewart. Doesn't get it out. Here's Reed. Reed along the boards. Around. Brady Martin behind the net. Mignosa back to Martin. He'll send it back to the blue line. Reed on the near side. Doesn't take a shot. Now he will. And that one a high riser. As that one ends up in the concession stand with how high it went. And now we've got Martin and Aitchison exchanging some words.
Bit of a physical shift there. I mean, it started right out front. Evan Passmore was basically laying down on Travis Hayes there for a little bit.
Well, the Greyhounds may have had a case there. It's Sault Ste. Marie, still no power plays tonight, but Evan Passmore falling on top of Hayes, and how convenient. He's just not going to move that fast.
I didn't really see what happened at the start because we were watching the play up in the corner, but then there's a commotion. You look out front, and they're just kind of laying there on the ground.
But it's that time where it's like, well, this is a top player, so you're conveniently taking your time getting up and taking that player out of the play, but still no call, and that kind of frustrating John Dean, the head coach of the Sioux Greyhounds, as he's still looking for his team to get their first power play.
Well, they looked like they may have gotten the power play in the first period. Joe Salandra tripped a guy up by the benches that went uncalled, but now the Sioux still looking for their first power play.
So we'll get this faceoff back in the Barrie Colts zone with 13:53 remaining in the second. The Colts holding on to a 3-2 lead. Your goal scorers tonight, Cole Bodwin, Calvin Crombie, and Brad Gardner. And for the Sioux Greyhounds, we have Jeremy Martin and Jordan Sharon, the goal scorers for the Sioux. As we'll get this faceoff coming to the left of Ben Horevic.
Kind of shows how deep these two teams' top sixes are. You got Brad Gardner and Jordan Sharon on the second lines tonight. Sharon's got 15, Gardner's got 13 goals.
Face-off won by the Colts. Eliasson can't get a stick on it. That pass blocked by Bodwin. Salandra over to Hemming. He'll skate this one out. Hemming sends it into the Sioux zone. Back to play it is Hayes. Near side. Greyhounds, far side. Winkelhofer down low, takes the shot, and that's deflected wide of the net. That was in front. That was Brady Smith with the deflection. Cole Emerton from the corner in his own zone. He's going to around his own net. Aerosmith putting on the pressure. Gets this one out to center. Icing is waved off. Miller out of his own net to play it. Facing some pressure there from Joe Salandra. Puck will escape the zone. Emerton sends this one back into the Sioux territory as Miller will drop it back. Solomon sending that one around. Greyhounds get it out to center. Knocked down by Armstrong. Desiderio up to Hemming. Desiderio following it up. Chips that one into the Greyhound zone, but Sault Ste. Marie getting it right back out. Backhand pass. Sharon had to stay on side. That puck got by him. Armstrong leaves it in the corner. Hanser going after it. Battle in the corner. Hanser won't go behind his own net. He had Zelensky in the way. Armstrong up to Desiderio. He's knocked down by McConnell Barker. Battle along the boards. Zelensky down low to McConnell Barker, trying to go to the net. Passes it in front. Puck! And that one's stopped by Horevic. Hanser gets it in the corner as the Colts try and get this one out. That's going to go down the ice, so O'Brien's there to collect it. Jack O'Brien turns it over to Desiderio. Stopped by Miller. Greyhounds get this one out at center. Sharon, he'll skate this one into the zone, facing pressure from Aitchison. He's tied up, and the puck will escape the zone. And then we got O'Brien going after Kayshawn Aitchison. This is going to be a penalty. Aitchison not retaliating, but we'll have to wait and see. I think Aitchison may also be getting a penalty here, so it may be a 4-on-4 situation.
Brian's still trying to go after him. Don't really know what he was doing there. He just Aitchison with a clean hit, and then O'Brien comes over, starts fighting with him, but never tried to really drop the gloves. He just kind of was hitting him with his gloves. And
no, now they're going to have a conversation in the penalty box. Kayshawn Aitchison.
Aitchison's being ignored right now.
Yeah. Well, O'Brien before that door closed was yelling at Aitchison, but as soon as the door closed, Jack O'Brien
He was done.
Yeah, that's it. I don't need to hear anything else. Well, we all saw what Kayshawn Aitchison was doing with Chase Coughlin last night in Sudbury. So I guess, Aitchison's got a couple of new friends here with the Sioux Greyhounds.
Well, I think Kayshawn Aitchison seems to make friends everywhere he goes. It seems like every game go to on the road, Kayshawn Aitchison's one of the 3 stars. He comes out, he gets biggest boo that you hear all night. And
yeah, but he loves it.
Yeah.
He embraces it. He'll be the villain on the road.
And if the roles were reversed, they'd be cheering him like crazy.
Oh, exactly. So out of all that, it's going to be a 4-on-4 situation. Face off outside the Colts blue line. Crombie will send this one back behind his own net. Horevic slowing it down for Cole Emerton. Emerton will set things up. That pass ahead finds Crombie. Calvin Crombie through the neutral zone. Crombie entering the Sioux end. Hits the brakes. His pass off the skates of Mignosa. And the Greyhounds regain possession. They'll reach center ice. Carrying this one in is Reed. Chase Reed takes the shots, and that's going to go over the net and sail all the way back into the Sioux zone with 1:27 remaining in the 4-on-4. Brody McConnell Barker setting up behind his own net. He'll give that one up to Brady Martin. Martin leaving it for McConnell Barker. Back to Martin at the Sioux blue line. Puck bounced on him. Near side, McConnell Barker. He'll enter the zone here for the Sioux. Hits the brakes, taken to the boards by Hemming. Puck's behind the Colts net. There's Brady Martin. Martin coming back to the point. That's knocked away by Beaudoin. That's going to end up in the neutral zone. Martin again with it ahead for Magnosa. Eliasson will pick it up over to Emerton. Cole Emerton sends it back behind his own net for Eliasson. 50 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Emerton on the far side. Magnosa on the forecheck. Eliasson gets it on the near corner. Deep in the Colts zone. Eliasson has to be careful here. Magnosa putting on pressure. Back behind his own net now is Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin being pressured now by Quinn McKenzie. 30 seconds left in the penalties to Aitchison and O'Brien as Emerton has it behind his own net. Colts just taking their time. Emil Hemming comes up with it, drops to Eliasson. He wasn't ready for that pass. He'll take it back behind his own net. Most of this 4-on-4 has been behind the Barrie Colts net, or at least that's how it feels like. Cole Beaudoin now up the wing. He'll carry it into the Sioux zone. Beaudoin the shots, and Miller makes the save with 1 second remaining in the 4-on-4.
Well, for a 4-on-4, it was very uneventful. Didn't really feel like either team was getting any opportunities. Normally, ice seems to open up and you get opportunities back and forth, but nothing really going on there.
Well, with both teams with so many weapons, you would think they'd embrace the 4-on-4 situation, especially with what we've seen so far from the Greyhounds. But maybe that's just it. The Colts were just content letting the clock run out, play keep away. And now we'll get a face-off to the right of Miller as Asadorian will take the draw. Brown is tossed out of the circle, so in steps Pangratich. Face-off won by the Greyhounds. Winkelhofer has it in his own zone. The penalized players back on the ice, so 5-on-5. We've now reached the midway point of the hockey game. The Barrie Colts up by 1. It's a 3-2 score as the Greyhounds carry it in. Near side, Zwolenski trying to settle it down, but Aitchison got a stick on it. Puck's behind the net. Edgar turns that one over to Brown. Christopher Brown along the boards. He'll send this one into the zone, but it was deflected. Now the Colts get it out to center ice. Eamon Edgar. He'll weave his way in. Edgar trying to pass it back, but the Greyhounds take it away. Back behind his own net, that's Pangratich. Pangratich passing that, ends up in the neutral zone, picked up by Passmore. Passmore trying to dump it in. That rolled on him. Evans collects it. Pangratich on the far side. Greyhounds enter the zone. Carter Lowe took that one away. Schneid gets it down the ice. Back to the Sioux blue line. Charron. He'll give that one up to Evans. Up the wing. Deflected, so no icing. That was Laus getting a stick on it. Armstrong behind the net. Near side, Kayshawn Aitchison. He'll pick this one up. Flips it out to center ice. Pangratich trying to get a glove on it. Carter Lowe with possession. Lowe with the shots, and that's deflected wide of the net. Getting a stick on it there was Schneid. Puck goes to the corner. Greyhounds with possession. They're going to skate this one up. That's center ice. Laus sends it deep. Ends up behind the Colts net. Armstrong's there. He's going to send it around. Schneid at the blue line. Gets it out. Lowe tried to get a stick on it. Ends up in the Sioux zone. Chase Reed's going to peel back behind his own net. 8.5 minutes remaining in the second period. Reed skating through the neutral zone, going end to end. Reed gets by Armstrong around the Colts net. Reed still with it. Backhand pass to the point. There's the shot deflected wide of the net. Blocking that was Calvin Crombie. Martin gets it in the corner. Passing it in front. Deflected as Hrebeck didn't see it in front of him. Puck goes to the corner. Reed at the point. He'll give that one up to Martin. Back to Reed. Reed weaves past Gardner, stays with it, holds, fires, it goes off the post. It went off Brady Martin and off the near post. Colts get to it. Armstrong holding it along the boards. Colts trying to dig this one free as the Greyhounds, they'll make a line change. It's the long change right now, so some tired legs for the Barrie Colts. Solomon comes back to the blue line. Back behind the net, that's Hayes. Hayes back to Magnosa, but he puts that one over the net. Greyhounds get it at the line. Here's Solomon. Solomon at the shots, and then there's going to be a penalty here as Hanser was tied up with Travis Hayes. He loses his helmet, and this puck's going to go down the ice. Delayed call against the Colts. Miller was trying to come to his bench. As they want the extra attacker, Charron will send it back to Solomon. Solomon sending that one around. Loose puck. Salandra chasing after it. He'll touch it, and we'll get the call. And that's going to be a roughing penalty against the Barrie Colts. And the Greyhounds are getting their first power play of the hockey game.
Well, Hanser and Hayes got into it out front, and I think Dylan Smoskowitz coming over wanting an explanation as I think the Barrie Colts thought the puck had gone out of play before that. But I think that might only be a challengeable thing if there's a goal.
Well, Jesse Wilmot, the official, calling over the other referees to have a conversation about this. But you may have a good eye there.
I know Ethan Armstrong put the hand up and it looked like it got close to the netting, but
well, we'll see what this means here. Wilmot now coming over to talk to Dylan Smoskowitz. He's waving his head no. So Wilmot giving a brief explanation to Smoskowitz. He's just going to wave it off. So they'll continue play. Because if that did go out of play, and if, say, a linesman saw it, then that penalty wouldn't count if that was before.
And if that had been a goal there, they would have been able to actually go to video review.
Then you can challenge it. But either way, it's now a power play for the Sioux Greyhounds. Their power play 18th in the OHL at 14%. And the penalty kill for Barrie continues to improve, now 17th at 73%. Chase Reed passing it across. There's the one-timer. And that's going to go out of play as Brady Martin got a little too much under it.
Great opportunity there. I mean, Chase Reed and Brady Martin, two of the best players in the OHL, and it's a very dangerous duo to have out there on the ice together. Barrie Colts, they're riding high on the penalty kill right now, 11 for 11 against the Sudbury Wolves over the last two nights.
Face off to the right of Harebic. There's bodies flying everywhere as the linesman blew his whistle. He wanted to redo the face-off as it wasn't done cleanly, but at least 4 players fell on top of the face-off dot.
Aitchison and Passmore were ready to go.
So we'll try this once more. This time it's done cleanly. Goes to the boards. Greyhounds with it. Chase Reed at the point. Poked away there by Beaudoin, but picked up by Martin. Back to Reed. Reed off the blue line, facing pressure there from Hemming. Sends it back to Winkelhofer. Brady Martin down low, side of the net, in front, but Reed couldn't get to that loose puck. And the Colts, they're going to get this one out. Cole Beaudoin at center ice. He has it shorthanded. Beaudoin enter the attacking zone. Winkelhofer, though, knocks that one away. And the Greyhounds are able to recover. Brady Martin, he'll do the long stretch pass. Here's Travis Hayes on the far side. He'll hit the brakes, dropping it to the corner. Magnosa, he's tied up. Gardner gets to it. He'll send it back down the ice. 1:04 left in the power play here for the Greyhounds, as Miller's going to leave it there for his defense. Moving that one ahead, reaching center. Reed dumps this one in. Hayes gives chase. Puck's in the corner. Emerton gets it behind his own net. His clearing attempt goes off Brady Martin. Martin back to the blue line. Winkelhofer will skate this one ahead. Takes the shot. Stopped in front. Gardner sends it to the boards. Good save there again by Harevic. Chase Reed on the near side. Delayed penalty. There's a shot. Blocked. Rebound. And Gardner after the loose puck will get the call. And then Brady Martin going after Brad Gardner. I don't know if he realized there's already a delayed penalty. But it looks like we're going to get an interference call, and I don't think Martin's going to get anything as his teammate ripped him off Brad Gardner.
That was Minosa grabbing him, and now Aitchison gives Martin a bump, but the penalty's going against Ben Harebic, who took down a Sioux player who was getting, I guess, a bit too close to Harebic for his liking.
Well, we've been seeing that a little bit more of late from Ben Harebic, who's not afraid to, show how he feels with the opposition right in front of his net.
Landon Miller isn't like David Egeroff. He hasn't came out of his net yet to challenge Ben Harebic, but...
Well, right now the Colts will send out Eamon Edgar across to serve this penalty for Ben Harebic. So it's going to be a 5-on-3 situation for 31 seconds. So a big opportunity now for the Sioux to tie this game with 5:42 left to go in the second period. Face-off won by the Colts right away. They get this one down the ice. So Justin Hanser will come out of the penalty box now in 25 seconds. As Winkelhofer will send that one ahead. Chase Reed picks it up at center ice. He'll carry this one in. Reed going around the Barrie net. Eliason takes him into the boards. Reed, though, stays with it. Sending it back to Brady Martin on the half boards. Martin to Winkelhofer. Winkelhofer waits, gives that up to Chase Reed. Reed and the high slot, leaving it for Winkelhofer. Over to Martin. Martin has that one bounce on him. He's taken down by Beaudoin, and the penalty to Hanser has come to an end. He was nearly off to the races, but that was taken away by Reed. Ignosa carrying it in now for the Sioux. Martin receives the pass. 1:15 left in the power play. Into the slot, but that's knocked away, and the Colts clear it. Laus will come back to pick it up now for the Greyhounds. Both teams complete changes. 1:03 now remaining in this power play. Carrying this one ahead is Laus. Laus through the neutral zone. He'll dump it in. Around the boards. McKenzie, he takes the hit. Colts pick it up. Schneid will clear it. So William Schneid quickly getting this one down the length of the ice. Miller can't play it as the puck ends up in that corner. Greyhounds pick it up. Trying to gain some momentum here. That's Laus. He'll skate this one through center. Laus on the wing. Gets by Emerton. That's knocked to the corner. Laus tied up by the Colts defender. Puck comes back to the blue line. Greyhounds move it to the near side. Charron doesn't take a shot. Finds McKenzie, but he wasn't ready for that pass. Comes back to the blue line with possession. That's Brown. Back to McKenzie. McKenzie goes back to Brown. The fans get antsy here. There's the shot blocked by Emerton. Puck goes to the corner. Charron can't get a stick on it. Colts trying to get it out, and they will. As the penalty kill continues to get the job done. Puck's in the corner. Miller can't play it. Asadorian picks it up here for the Colts. Back to Desiderio. The power play has come to an end. Nicholas Desiderio down low for the Colts. Taking time off this clock. Solomon will tie him up. Asadorian knocks it down. Alex Asadorian leaving it there for Edgar. Edgar sends it down for Desiderio. He's taken to the boards by Solomon. Smith ahead. Hanser trying to get to it. Knocks it to the corner. Desiderio back to Hanser. Justin Hanser to the net. Miller had to make the save. There was enough space there between the pad and the post, and Hanser trying to sneak that one through.
Well, Hanser as well. I mean, he had Asadorian on the other side, kind of similar to last night. No one's paying attention to Asadorian, and he sneaks down into the crease there for a good opportunity. But Miller got out in front of it, made the save. But the Sioux Greyhounds there, I mean, a big opportunity, a 5-on-3 there for a bit of time, and then a 5-on-4 after that. And they didn't really get anything going. They just seemed to pass the puck around a lot, not really creating many shots.
Well, they were, like you mentioned, doing those passes, and then the Colts eventually get it down ice. And twice there, Landon Miller tried to play it, but the puck ends up in the corner. And Alex Asadorian nearly all by himself there, shorthanded.
That heads up kind of came out of nowhere, and it was the Colts were making a change, and the Greyhounds had kind of slowed down, and Asadorian was able to get into the corner there, sets up an opportunity. But luckily for the Greyhounds, two defenders were able to get back before he could get out front of the net. But found Nicholas Desiderio, wasn't able to get a shot off, but good opportunity there for the Colts, who maybe looking for a bit of insurance before the end of the second period here. Last time these two teams played at the Sadlon Arena, the Colts did take a 2-goal lead into the third period, but it was a rough third period. Greyhounds got 2 back and then won the game in the shootout. But at that time, those Barrie Colts were kind of playing that kind of game where it seemed like the third periods they were having a rough time. They've had that figured out as of late.
Well, and then that game, too, you didn't have Cole Beaudoin, no Emil Hemming yet for the Barrie Colts. So the lineup looking very different at that time. Although the Greyhounds can then say, well, we didn't have Brady Martin.
I remember that overtime. It felt like the Greyhounds were just playing to get it to a shootout.
So we have 3:12 remaining in the second period. Colts send it around the boards. Passmore trying to keep it in the Sioux zone. Bodie Stewart's there to play it. Stewart gives that up to Carter Lowe. Or make that Brad Gardner. Gardner trying to send it back, but that's taken away by Solomon. He'll send it back behind his own net. Greyhounds send it down ice. After it, here's Brady Smith. Smith from the corner, passes it in front, but Zelensky couldn't get a stick on it. Greyhounds keep it in at the point. Puck bouncing to the near side. After it is Crombie, delivers a big hit on O'Brien. Aitchison will take it behind his own goal. Kayshawn Aitchison taking his time behind the net. Both teams are making line changes as we're now down to 2.5 minutes remaining now in this second period. Barrie Colts up 3-2. Aitchison now gives it up to Beaudoin, who's going to skate this one ahead. He loses it, taken away by Jeremy Martin. His shot stopped by Horevic, and he's going to hold on. But what an effort there from Jeremy Martin to take it away from Cole Beaudoin.
Jeremy Martin's had a pretty strong game tonight, got the opening goal, and He's played pretty solid for the Sioux Greyhounds over the last couple of games after coming over from Flint and the trade for the other Brady Smith.
Well, that's just it. That trade, it helped us broadcasters. Having two Brady Smiths on the same team made things difficult. We had to result in using middle initials to differentiate the two Brady Smiths. But a good pickup, Jeremy Martin, and getting the job done here tonight for the Greyhounds. Greyhounds win the faceoff. Mignosa sends that to the far side. Winkelhofer is there to play it. Ends up back behind the Colts net. Salandra, he'll send this one around. That's going to get past the defenseman, as that's going to sail back into the Sioux zone. Not enough for icing. Reed's going to send this one around. Near side, Hayes trips that one back. Winkelhofer ahead for Mignosa. Mignosa, though, loses the handle of it. Colts recover. Played offside now against the Sioux as the puck bouncing back into the Barrie zone. Eliasson in front of his own net. He's just going to peel back. As the pace slowing down a little bit, kind of like what we saw in the first period. As Cole Emerton will skate this one ahead. His pass deflected by Martin. Carrying this one is Mignosa. Marco Mignosa to the net. Holds. Fires. Lost it. Chance. And Horevic with a huge stop. And now we're going to get a penalty here. Looks like it's going to be a slashing call against Brody McConnell-Barker.
Eliasson.
Oh, it's Eliasson.
He hit the Barker's stick as he was coming by the net there and broke it. And the officials all Eliasson for it. He wasn't a fan of that one, but just getting a bit too emotional as players were coming around Ben Horevic's crease, and the Greyhounds getting another power play opportunity.
Well, with the way McConnell-Barker was reacting, with the ref looking at him, it looked like he was the guilty party, but the Sioux Greyhounds getting back on the power play, their third tonight. Face-off won by the Sioux. Here's Christopher Brown from the face-off dot. Takes the shot, rebound, trying to tuck it around. Horevic out of his crease, then that pass doesn't connect. Greyhounds moving it around as Sharon on the far side. Back to Brown. Brown facing pressure there from Newton. Keeps this one in the offensive end. Christopher Brown down low. McKenzie back to Brown. Brown riding the blue line. Goes back to McKenzie. McKenzie down low. Martin across. Standing on it. Puck's loose behind Horevic. Horevic's not facing forward. He's in the net. Greyhounds couldn't capitalize. Colts trying to get to it. There's another chance. Blocked by Passmore. Christopher Brown back to Louse at the line. Brown gets it again. We're in the final minute of the period. Brown down low to Sharon. Back to Brown. Can't control that pass. Louse is there to help him out. Christopher Brown gave that one up nearly to Jaden Newton. Now it's loose, and Schneid will just clear it. The Sioux Greyhounds had a fantastic opportunity to tie it, but they just can't capitalize on their chances here this period. Jordan Sharon, he'll skate this one ahead. Brady Martin's on the far side. He'll carry it in. Gets by Emerton around the Colts net. Carter Lowe is there. Mignosa sends it back to the line. Reed over to Winkelhofer. Winkelhofer with a shot. That's blocked. Another chance stopped by Horevic. Emerton's taking it around his nets, and that will do it for the second period. As the Gabriel Eliasson penalty will carry over into the third period for 36 seconds. But Ben Horevic doing it in uncharacteristic ways to keep that puck from going in. But my, oh my, dodging a bullet there with the Barrie Colts.
Well, the Sioux Greyhounds, they kind of listened to our critiques there on their power play before, and they started shooting the puck, and all of a sudden it's a scramble out front of the net, and Aitchison and Passmore kind of each took a side there, and puck just went wide. Don't know if any of them got a deflection on it, but Colts came close. Players are still out on the ice.
Well, right now there's a photographer who looks like he may have taken a puck to the head. So the photographer being attended to between the benches. So the referees and the players were just out there to check on him. But yeah, that's the delay right now. As it's a tough job being a photographer there between the benches, and right now he's being attended to by the Sioux Greyhounds trainer.
I'm glad when I host that I only have to go down there in intermission. The only pucks that come at me are those foam chucka pucks. They don't hurt as much.
Yeah, but you don't have to deal with it as often as Adam Dunphy from the Oshawa Generals.
No, well, they got an interview room there now, so he's
that's
safe
true.
from it.
So he doesn't have to deal with that anymore.
No.
But anyways, after 2 periods of play, the Barrie Colts holding on to the on-goal advantage as the parade of people here in the press row make their way through And Liam, yeah, the synchronized shuffle. See the things that we have to put up with here on the road?
The Sioux television guys had to have been in here when they were constructing this place, and they made sure which side of the press box they were on.
So yeah, it is the synchronized shuffle, Liam, right there at the end of the period. And of course, when we come back with third period, we're going to do that all over again. But I was able before the game to catch up with Brad Cochimilio. He is the Sioux Today reporter for the Greyhounds. I've had him on the channel a couple of times talking about the Greyhounds because that's what I like to do. I like to talk with the other media people. Brad, he's a fun guy. He's very passionate about the Greyhounds. And we even got to talk jerseys because the Greyhounds wearing these black jerseys for the first time. And he was telling me he talked to the team and they put a white outline around the numbers because last year's jerseys, the broadcasters couldn't read them.
Well, I know when jerseys are involved, you get very excited. This must have been a huge weekend for you. I mean, the Bulldog jerseys last night and then these really nice black and red jerseys tonight.
So Brad Cochimilio will catch up with our conversation. And yes, we're going to start talking about jerseys.
So it's the second intermission between the Barrie Colts and the Sioux Greyhounds. And today, able to catch up in person with Brad Cochimilio. We've already chatted on the channel twice over Zoom. So it's great to catch up with Brad in person. And we were talking before this interview about Shoresy night in Sudbury. What did you make of those jerseys last night?
Yeah, those were pretty solid. And admittedly, I'm a big Shoresy fan as it is. So, I'll eat up anything Shoresy, and I give the Sudbury Wolves a lot of credit for playing that up, especially with, the series being shot in Sudbury and, at Sudbury Arena. I love the idea that, they play it up a little bit, and definitely like the jerseys. Definitely, those are definitely ones that, for a specialty jersey, definitely up there is one of my favorites.
And I know there was a few fans that were wondering why they didn't do it against the Sioux Greyhounds, because Sault Ste. Marie in the show is a big rivalry against Sudbury.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you've already got the OHL rivalry, and you got the rivalry in the show. It would have been definitely would have been a lot of fun. You almost could have maybe played it up with the Greyhounds, and maybe had them do a Shoresy related jersey or something too. Like, there's if anybody from the Sudbury Wolves is listening, hey, there might be a possibility there.
I'm glad we can provide some opportunities for the Sudbury Wolves in the future. But, speaking of jerseys, I'm a jersey nerd. As soon as I saw on social media that the Greyhounds were unveiling these black jerseys here tonight, I was excited because they are sharp. But the thing you pointed out is we can actually read the numbers now as broadcasters.
Yeah, so there's a slight difference from the black jerseys they wore last year, where last year the name bars and the numbers were basically all red. Nice thing is this year I believe the numbers are outlined with a gray outline this year, which is going to make it a lot easier to read around the rink and make our eyes work a little less tonight for sure.
Now, the Sioux Greyhounds, last time we saw them down in Barrie, they were missing Brady Martin in the lineup, and now he's back from the Nashville Predators, and he's fit in quite nicely, kind of continuing where he left off from last season.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's come in, he's played real well, and maybe his numbers have been solid. This is a team that's maybe been a little snake bit in the last couple of games. Like, they had I think it was 5 posts last night against Guelph in a 4-2 loss, and but he's fit in unbelievably well, and he's pretty much come back and done what was expected of him coming back from the NHL.
And we're also seeing McConnell Barker back in the lineup. He missed some time. Talk about his game and what he means for this Greyhounds.
Yeah, what a veteran presence, right? I mean, he's a kid who's been around the league for a while, and he missed I think it was 18 games when all was said and done, plus the entire preseason. It was due to illness, is what the team had said during the whole thing, but it was mono that was the issue, and it hit him really hard. And a lot of guys around the league have gone through it over the years, and it hits some guys differently than others, but it took a lot out of him. He's finally getting back in. He's trying to get his legs under him, and again, a veteran presence on the blue line is really nice to have in this league for sure.
And you're going to need that too with the way the Western Conference is shaping up. Yeah. Windsor Spitfires have a bit of a lead now in that West Division. So for the Greyhounds, need to find a way to overcome that deficit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Windsor was expected to be really good coming into the year, and they've been as advertised here, basically through the first 20 or so games. And if you're the Greyhounds, trying to find that momentum, right? That find that offensive ability. they got to get a little better defensively. There's been some nights where they've turned a lot of pucks over at bad spots, and it's come back to bite them. But if this team can get that figured out, they'll they could be a real interesting team to watch down the stretch.
Right now we're talking with Brad Cochimilio with Sault today, and talking a bit more here about the Greyhounds, this Western Conference. We're seeing some surprises right now with the way the Owen Sound attack are playing. The London Knights, I don't know if we can call it a surprise that they're back at the top, but still, this West, it just seems like it's wide open, and the Greyhounds have a great chance.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's, it's kind of an interesting scenario where you kind of got a lot of teams lumped together right now. We mentioned Guelph, they were in here. They're I think a little better maybe than people expected. The Owen Sound attack, I don't think a lot of us expected them to be as good as they were. London's doing their thing, kind of battling back after a tough first week or two of the season. But I'd hate to be decision makers and general managers around the Western Conference, because it's going to be a tough decision for some guys to decide, do you want to go for it? Do you want to make that big deal, a la the Brantford Bulldogs, and try to make a run, considering how many teams are kind of in that mix here early on.
Now, I was talking with Dylan Smoskowitz, the head coach, before the game, and he was surprised how fast we're already seeing Sault Ste. Marie. It's not even U.S. Thanksgiving, and here we are, the final meeting. It's going to be really different between now and the OHL trade deadline, just how much things are going to change. And from your perspective, do you see Brantford as maybe being that top team?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm pretty high on them in Windsor right now. The Eastern Conference is kind of interesting because it seems like Brantford's kind of, making those moves and pulling themselves away a little bit. I feel like after the Danford Sandu deal, I feel like they're definitely the team to beat, although, it's almost kind of one of those, hey, Windsor, it's your move now, right? Going to be really interesting, between here and the deadline. But, definitely Brantford's probably my... if I had to make a pick right now as who I would think is probably the top team and the front runner, definitely Brantford for sure.
Well, Brad, it's great to actually see you in person, and I'm glad we were able to catch up, because when we were on the way here, I was like, I hope I can see Brad in person after talking to him twice on Zoom. So thank you for doing this, and hopefully we'll see you sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a blast. I appreciate you having me on.
So that was Brad Cochimilio from Sault today. And Brad, such a great guy with the Sault Greyhounds. Have him on the channel. You can actually find those interviews by searching From the Booth with Mike. And he talks about the Greyhounds, very passionate. Also hosts his own podcast. So thank you again to Brad joining us here in the second intermission. As the Barrie Colts right now up 3-2. We're going to take a brief break, but when we come back, we'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard. We're going to talk mascots, because mascots seem to be having some issues right now in the OHL. And we'll also take a look at the chat. So if you want to join the conversation, you can put your comments and questions in the chat now. And Josh and I will chat about what you want to chat about. So it's right now 3-2 at the second intermission between the Barrie Colts and the Sault Greyhounds. So we're 8 minutes away from the start of the third period between the Barrie Colts and the Sault Greyhounds. And, we have a minute before we do the media row shuffle. We'll do some conversing. And starting off the out-of-town scoreboard, the Niagara Ice Dogs, who are first right now in the Central Division, trailing the Erie Otters by a score of 3-2. That's at the end of the second period. Meanwhile, the Flint Firebirds, a scoring machine right now, up 5-2 on the Guelph Storm. The London Knights, they have a 2-1 advantage right now on the road against the Owen Sound attack. North Bay, after giving up 9 goals last night to the Flint Firebirds, right now up 2-1 on the Saginaw Spirit after 2 periods of play. The Brampton Steelheads have come back to tie their game at 3 with the Windsor Spitfires. And of course, here in Sault Ste. Marie, it's a 3-2 score for the Barrie Colts. So some interesting scores there. But what's also been interesting is what's happening with mascots around the Ontario Hockey League. Bones was trending from the Niagara Ice Dogs, the Meridian Center in St. Catharines. He was coming out on the ice and skated right into the net. If you have not seen the video, I highly recommend you check it out. But yeah, mascots right now having their moment in the Ontario Hockey League.
Well, we're 3 for 3 on the weekend. I mean, we weren't in the building, but Bones on Thursday gets taken out. He had to go to the vet, and I'm told he got some treats, and he's all better now. And then, but last night in Sudbury, it was Howler that went down over the carpet for the national anthem. He tried skating over it, and down he went. And then Greyhounds mascot, Dash just tried to run chuck-a-puck, and he started kicking pucks everywhere, and they did declare a winner. I don't know how legitimate of a winner it is, but I'm just glad I was up here for chuck-a-puck.
Well, it's all the dog mascots, too. So the only dog mascot has been Bruiser. That hasn't been trending yet when it comes to mascot mishaps. But anyways, yeah, mascots right now having a moment. It was on TSN, ESPN, featuring Bones. So yeah, definitely check that out if you haven't seen that video as of yet. And we've got the chat now up and running here. So if you want to join the conversation, feel free to put your comments down below. But we have Liam here. Can someone explain these trade deadlines? So the trade deadline, first week of January, it's teams will be preparing for the second half of the regular season. Teams have a chance to upgrade their lineups, but with the way the OHL is set up, you cannot trade your first-round picks. So that means second-round picks are the most valuable when it comes to draft capital, because the Ontario Hockey League trying to protect the teams from themselves by not trading away those first-round picks.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to set a team back like 10 years because they decide to trade 5 first-round picks or something and then lose in the conference finals. Another note on the trade deadline is that the guy you pick in the first round the year before, you're not allowed to trade until January 1st. Here we go again. And yeah, basically it's just about the top-tier teams adding in some guys that more than likely are only going to be there for the playoff push. Maybe they come back for one more year. And teams near the bottom of the standings are trying to add some of those draft picks and some younger guys that are still eligible to play in the OHL for 2, 3, maybe 4 seasons. And right now, I think the Sault Greyhounds and Barrie Colts are in a situation where, as of right now, they're probably on the buying side, but neither team's exactly in a for sure scenario.
Well, it also depends on where you are on the junior hockey cycle, because typically you have teams that are competitive, considered contenders for maybe 2 seasons at most, and then you usually go into a rebuild. Example being the Oshawa Generals, where right now you see Van Denford being traded off to the Brantford Bulldogs along with Zachary Sandu. You wouldn't normally see that if it's, say, a National Hockey League team, because those trade deadlines are more focused on the salary cap, whereas there's no salary cap in junior hockey. So it's all about the cycles. Where is your team? And that's when you decide whether or not you're going to be a buyer or a seller.
Well, another thing, too, is that in the NHL, there's always going to be, if you're making the playoffs, you're going for it. If you're close to the playoff spot, you may not go all in, but you're still probably going to add names. In the OHL and in the junior hockey in general, you got to keep in mind, like there's some top-tier teams that you kind of know it's going to be their year. This year, Brantford, Windsor, Kitchener are kind of that top 3, that big 3. And so you kind of have to evaluate before getting silly and trading away a ton of draft picks and a ton of young guys. Can you actually compete with the Brantford Bulldogs? Can you actually compete with the Windsor Spitfires? You don't want to go all in and then lose 4-0 to those guys because your team isn't anywhere close to them.
And that's where it's tough if you're a general manager like Marty Williamson, because you're evaluating your talent, but you're also evaluating the other teams around you. And right now, the Central Division, it's wide open. Right now, 2 points separating first between the Niagara Ice Dogs and the Barrie Colts. North Bay, not far off, but then you've got Brampton and Sudbury who are really falling off in the race. So you're looking at it as, okay, maybe this could be our buy-in year so you can try and win your division. You finish second overall in the Eastern Conference standings, and you avoid Brantford up until the conference final. So that would be an ideal situation if you're the winner of the Central.
Well, and anything can happen come playoff time, too. I mean, the Brantford Bulldogs were the #1 team in the Eastern Conference last season going into the playoffs, and then they took a 2-0 lead in round 2, and Nick Lardis goes down, and they didn't win another playoff game. This Bulldogs team this year is a bit better than that team of last year, but when it comes to the playoffs, you just never know. That last year's London team that dominated everyone, that's not ordinary. They're usually, you don't know who's going to win before the season starts, and just because you're the 1 seed doesn't mean you're making it to the finals. Just because you're the 4 or 5 seed doesn't mean you're only playing a round or two. You never know what's going to happen in the playoffs, especially in junior hockey. These guys are so young, you never know when they may just take off, some of these younger players.
And then you also have to think, too, how long am I going to have this player on my roster? As I'm sure for Barrie Colt fans, excited to see Cole Baudouin and Kayshawn Aitchison, Emil Hemming, seeing what they're doing on the ice right now. But then you look at next year. Will they still be on the roster? And if not, if your team is below that 4th seed, ideally, then you might think, okay, maybe we need to trade them off to get some assets. But if you're in the top 4, chasing for top spot in your division, then you're thinking, okay, this is our year to go for it because we're probably not going to have them here next season.
Well, I think if the Barrie Colts decide to go for it, they're going to go for it pretty hard because they're going to want to know for sure that they have a really good chance at beating Brantford, because if not, you might as well sell off with guys like Hemming and Baudouin and Aitchison if you're down in 5th or 6th place, because you're going to get such a big haul for all 3 of those guys that you can build a potential Memorial Cup squad in the next couple of years off of the guys you get in return for those 3 players. Another thing you got to keep in mind as well, some players that we'd see here for 4 OHL years may only be here for 2 and then head off to NCAA now.
Yeah, that's a whole other wrinkle. So, Liam, I hope that answers your question. But yeah, it's junior hockey. The whole trade deadline element is a lot different than what we see at the National Hockey League level. So we'll see where it all goes from here as we get ready for the 3rd period of play between the Barrie Colts and the Sault Greyhounds. We're going to do the shift where Gene Pereira will be joining us back. No, he's waving there. He's going to let you be the closer tonight.
He called in the closer. He just looked at me and he did a little tap on the arm. He said he's good.
All right. So, Josh McCann, you get to close it out here tonight. And, of course, the Barrie Colts shorthanded to start this 3rd period. Gabriel Eliasson in the penalty box for another 36 seconds. And we'll see how this all transpires. The Greyhounds had some great chances at the end of the 2nd period to try and tie this hockey game, but just were not able to solve Ben Horevic.
You know what happened? He made a friend up there.
Is that what's going on behind us?
He's chatting someone up back there. And do we have penalties?
Well, Travis Hayes and Emil Hemming were cross-checking one another, so both of them are in the penalty box. These teams are in opposite conferences. Like, the rivalry suddenly between Colts and Greyhounds?
The Barrie Colts have played so many games against the Western Conference, and you wouldn't realize it because it feels like every time. And now, so there's 2 Colt players. Oh, never mind. Chase Reed's there. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, so the 3rd period now underway. So coincidental penalties there to Hemming and Hayes as the Greyhounds send it back to the point. Winkelhofer, he'll pass this one over to Reed. Down low to Martin. It's Brady Martin. Back to the line. Winkelhofer. Over to Reed. His shot's blocked by Passmore. Reed across. That's deflected. And that's going to go over the glass and out of play with 11 seconds now remaining in the penalty to Eliasson.
Well, like I was saying, the Colts have had such a Western Conference packed schedule early in the season. There's only a few teams they haven't played yet, like Flint and Saginaw in London. And they'll get to see Saginaw on Thursday, but it doesn't really feel like an out-of-conference opponent with how physical these games have been.
Cole Baudouin slow to get up off the draw. He was shaking his head. Play continues. Eliasson ready to come out of the penalty box. Greyhounds turn it over. They give it up to Baudouin, who is going to peel back into his own zone. The power play has come to an end. Baudouin being chased there by Brady Martin. Looked like a bit of a hook. Baudouin's going to peel back behind his own net. Over to Emerton. Emerton sending that up the middle. Slensky picked off that pass attempt. Doesn't go too far as Hanser's there to collect it now for the Colts. Crombie passing this one up the middle. That's dangerous. Gave it right to Brady Martin, but he's not able to take advantage. Cole Baudouin at his own blue line lets Hanser carry it ahead. Hanser into the attacking zone, facing pressure there from Zlovensky. Taken away. Stewart Across Gardner. Puts that one over the net. At the point, Emerton keeps that in the zone. Stewart shot blocked. Crombie giving that one back to Stewart. Behind the net. Blocked there by Solomon. Back to the blue line, Hanser. Sets up Gardner. Stewart, one-timer stop by Miller. Rebound, and the Greyhounds, they'll pick it up and get it out. Down the ice it goes. Brady Smith taken to the boards there by Emerton. Those two battling in the corner. Smith from his knees gets it back to Brown. Christopher Brown from the corner, knocked there by Emerton. Emerton sends it around to Hanser. Quickly gives it up to Brad Gardner. Gardner coming up from behind the net. He'll go for a skate. Ahead for Hanser at center ice. He's going to dump it in. Goes off for a change. Miller behind his own net to play it. That one going off the defenseman as the Greyhounds get it out to center. Armstrong can't get it too far. Louse ahead to Martin. That's Jeremy Martin over the Brown. Brown backhand, and that misses Martin. Colts recovering their own zone. That's going to be sent across. Evans trying to get a stick on it. Rolls into the Sioux zone. That's deflected. Edgar lost the handle of it. Acidorian comes up with it. Fans on the first pass attempt. Now the Greyhounds will get it out. Acidorian maybe gave a bit of a hook, but play continues. Puck rolls deep into the Colts zone. Puck's behind the net. Louse takes it away. There's a shot stopped by Horevic. What a chance there for Jeremy Martin. Puck comes ahead. Martin comes back, takes it away from Aitchison. Martin sending this back to Winkelhofer. Up the middle, here's McKenzie. He'll peel back. There's the shot, stopped by Horevic. As firing that one was Harris Pangratich, but that goes out of play.
It's big opportunities there for the Sioux. Pangratich there, and then Jeremy Martin a minute ago with another big opportunity for himself tonight, but Ben Horevic with another big save. Shots now 25-17 for the Sioux. Since the start of that power play, they've kind of taken over this game and trying to carry that momentum here through the third period and tie this game up.
So we'll get the face-off to the left of Ben Horevic as desperation starting to set in here for the Sioux Greyhounds. Brady Martin's going to take the draw against Cole Baudouin. Hayes back behind the net. He's going to come back to the corner, passes it in front. There's the shot, blocked by Passmore. Salandra comes up with it for the Colts. He's going to send this one out to center ice, relieves the pressure. Reed to McConnell Barker. McConnell Barker will send that one ahead. Hayes tips that one deep into the Barrie zone. Hanser's there to collect it. Hanser ahead. Not able to get that one out was Baudouin, but it will trickle over. Hemming sending this one in the Sioux zone. It's going to go wide of the net. Baudouin, first one on it. Cole Baudouin from the near corner. He's tied up. That's kicked out behind the Greyhounds net. McConnell Barker putting that one off the boards. Greyhounds out to center. Salandra got a stick on it. Puck's sitting there. Greyhounds find it at the center line. McConnell Barker is going to dump it in. Takes a weird bounce in the corner. Emerton able to pick that one up. Salandra got a stick on it, so no icing. Puck goes behind the Greyhounds net. McConnell Barker sending that one ahead. Here's Charon dropping that one back. Shot on goal, stopped by Horevic, goes behind the Colts net. Greyhounds with it again. Coming off the boards is Aerosmith. He'll send that one across. Solomon sending that down low. Salandra ties up his man. Aerosmith puts that one wide of the net. Winkelhofer at the point. Riding the line, Solomon passing that one up. Brown takes the shot. That's blocked by Schneid. Another chance. Kicked aside by Horevic. Puck's in the slot. Colts trying to get it out. William Schneid gets to the line. Kept in there by Brown. Brown trying to get it by Schneid. Ends up in the corner. Emerton sending this one around. Here's Hanser in the corner. Giving that up to Newton. Newton up the ice. Out of the reach of Schneid. Evans will collect it now for the Sioux. Bouncing back into the Greyhound zone. Delayed offside. Evans sends that one ahead. McNosa got a piece of it, so no icing. Puck goes deep. Louse is there, trying to get a stick on it. Rolls out in front. Crombie picks it up. Calvin Crombie gets this one out to center. Doesn't get it past Evans, however. Colts recover. Here's Armstrong in his own zone. Back to Passmore. 5 minutes into the third period. 3-2 for the Barrie Colts. Puck picked off at center ice. Jeremy Martin read that one. Gives it up to McKenzie on the wing. Takes the shot off the post. Quinn McKenzie strikes iron as Sault Ste. Marie. They keep coming up close, but can't get it into the back of the net right now. Brad Gardner coming out from behind his own net. He'll just peel right back, facing some pressure there from Jeremy Martin. Passmore's turn behind his own net. Passmore, long pass, puck staying at the line. O'Brien collects it now for the Sioux. He'll skate this one in. He's got Smith going to the net. O'Brien in front, but the Colts clear it out. Chase Reed gets it at center ice. He's going to backtrack. Reed ahead for Slovensky. Slovensky passing that one ahead. The pass just rolling away in front of the Colts bench. Crombie's there to play it. Ahead to Stewart. He's going to dump it in. Chase Reed back behind his own net. Cole Beaudoin putting on some pressure here. Reed's going to skate it out. Chase Reed reaches center. He's going to pass this one forward out of the reach of Aerosmith. Hanser delivers the hit. In the corner, Aitchison comes up with it. He'll send this one around. Slandra chasing after it. McConnell Barker is there, back to the line. Slovensky shot stopped by Horevic. Puck's loose. And Hanser sends to the corner. He's going to send this one down the ice. And that's going to relieve some pressure as Brody McConnell Barker finds it. McConnell Barker run over by Beaudoin. Slandra comes up with it, trying to carry it in. Greyhounds get this one back up the ice. Mignosa now. He'll give it up to Brady Martin. Martin dropping it back to Hayes. On his backhand, misses the net. Solomon keeping this one in for the Greyhounds. Colts get to it. Aitchison, he's bumped off stride. Puck's in the corner, and then Salandra with a big hit. Bodies flying everywhere. Greyhounds still with it. Puck's in the corner. Aitchison trying to take it away from Hayes. Hayes collides with Eliasson. Along the boards, Hemming gets this one out to center ice. Shots now 29-17 for the Sioux. Down by one. Mignosa ahead for Hayes. Drops it back to Martin. Brady Martin shot on goal, and that's just going to roll to Ben Horevic, and he's going to hold on. But this is much like what we saw at the start of the hockey game from the Sioux, just that intense pressure.
Well, Barrie Colts look like a team that are in the third period of their third game in 3 nights. Just not really doing anything much outside of getting the puck out of the zone and flipping it down the ice and letting the Sioux try it all over again. Some good opportunities for the Greyhounds so far this period. And for the Barrie Colts, they're looking for a similar period as they had in the third last night. I mean, a bit of a wobbly second period for them, but in the third period, it was the depth coming forward to get them that win. Alex Asadorian, the third line center, off a pass from Justin Hanser, who's on the third pairing, and then William Schnei playing on the fourth line the last 2 nights. He got the insurance goal last night, so Colts looking for another guy that, maybe playing third, fourth line to step up here and get them a goal.
But the one benefit with all this play from the Greyhounds that the clock is going to become more of an issue here for Sault Ste. Marie as they're getting those chances, but the clock just keeps running and running. And the Colts, I think, they're going to be okay with just taking their time behind the net. We saw that with Aitchison. We saw that with Gardner. Just take your time, try and slow things down a bit.
Well, we went a long way without a whistle there. We quickly got to 12:56 to go, and Greyhounds still find themselves down by 1 and facing a goaltender in Ben Horevic, who is one of the best in the league, and he'll definitely be up to the task here in the next 13 minutes.
So big face-off to the left of Ben Horevic as Alex Asadorian will take this draw up against Christopher Brown. Face-off won by the Colts. Aitchison gets to the loose puck. Flips this one to center ice. After it is Schneid. Schneid sends it deep. Reed back after it for the Greyhounds. McConnell Barker puts that one off Desiderio. Miller decides to play it. It was rolling towards him. Greyhounds get it out. Brown's pass deflected. Ends up on the far side. Sharam will flip this one back to McConnell Barker. Up the wing. This is going to be tipped into the zone by Smith. Horevic behind his own net. Gives it up to Aitchison. Kayshawn Aitchison, he's going to take his time here. 12:20 left to go in the third period. Aitchison is in no hurry.
No one's pressuring him.
Well, now Louse decides to come to the net. Louse now chases Aitchison from behind the net. That took more time off the clock. Puck's taken away at center ice. Greyhounds send it back into the Barrie zone. Emerton's going to find it. Emerton back behind his own net. He'll leave it there for Crombie. Crombie continues it up the ice. That's going to go down to the Sioux zone, and that's just enough for icing. And they're going to bring this one back into the Barrie zone.
Just a bit too much on that one for Crombie and the Colts there. I mean, Kayshawn Aitchison, it goes behind the net. Quinn McKenzie was heading off, and Louse was coming on the ice, and a couple other Sioux players were around there. None of them really came over to Aitchison. He was able to kill plenty of time there again.
Yeah, we're now down to 11:50 left in this hockey game. Still a 1-goal difference. Puck's in the cold zone. Barrie with it. Gardner skates this one out to center. Gardner's just going to flip this one deep. Crombie's going to chase after it. Reed gets to it first. Up the wing. Emerton keeps it at the point. Doesn't get it too far as Brady Martin sends it back the other way. Winkelhofer with possession. He'll skate this one in for the Sioux, but that's taken away by Emerton. Cole Emerton goes around his own net. Won't get this to the line and out. Squeaks past. Crombie chasing after it. Calvin Crombie's got a partial break. Drops it back to Gardner, and it rolls to the corner. Crombie gets in the near side now. Passes it back to the line, but not able to connect with Gabriel Eliasson. So that puck sails all the way back to the Barrie zone. Sharon chasing Hanser. Seeing more pressure now from the Greyhounds as Hanser gets this one out to center. Bodwin couldn't get a stick on it. Sharon takes it back into his own zone. Here's McConnell Barker. Kept in at the point by Schneid. Cole Bodwin flips this one to the corner. Schneid after it. Solomon takes a hard hit from Salandra. Here's Bodwin. Down low to Salandra between the legs. And that one stopped by Miller as Joe Salandra getting a little fancy down low. But now we've got Hunter Solomon giving a few shots here to Salandra after the whistle.
Well, and across from them, Jordan Sharon came in and grabbed Schneid from behind and brought him to the ground. Didn't see any penalties coming out on that one. As feels like the first time the Barrie Colts have had the puck in the zone for a bit of time there. Set up an offensive zone draw here. It's going to be Newton. Carter Lowe coming out with Schneid. Carter Lowe, 3 goals on the year. His last goal came on October 2nd against this Sioux Greyhounds team. I'm sure he'd love to get goal number 4 here against them and get things back rolling for a guy that had 16 goals for this Barrie Colts team last year.
Well, this fourth line, they're going to be key if this team's going to ride out this hockey game. As you mentioned, this is the end of the 3-3 weekend for the Barrie Colts. There's a big collision. Laus took the hit there on Schneid. Greyhounds get it to the line and out. Here's Laus. He's going to go for a skate on the far wing. Laus takes the shot, blocked by Armstrong. Loose puck. Armstrong trying to get a stick on it. He's in a battle with Laus. Newton's going to send it behind his own net. Hanser is there for the Colts. Takes it into the boards. There's a Greyhound on top of it. And we're going to get a whistle for a glove-to-head pass. As we still have 10:07 left to go here in this hockey game.
Ben Rebick tonight, 27 of 29 so far. Pretty strong night for the Colts netminder. And he's probably okay with facing 29 shots, considering the last time he saw Sault Ste. Marie, the Greyhounds fired up 48 shots on him.
Well, Ben Rebick, no stranger to busy nights.
Leads the OHL in saves right now.
Yeah, he is one of the busy goaltenders in the Ontario Hockey League. And right now, keeping his team up by 1. Cole Bodwin into the attacking zone, takes the shot wide of the net. Goes off the end boards. Greyhounds trying to get to it. Desiderio keeps it down low. Solomon after it behind his own net. Winkelhofer up the wing. Aerosmith passing that over to Smith. Brady Smith reaches center. Over to Sharon. Smith is dumped. Big hit there by Slandro. 2-on-1, and that misses the net. That was Solomon who went it wide. Greyhounds keep this one in. Eliasson trying to get it away from Sharon. Desiderio is there to skate it out. Desiderio dumping this one in into the corner. Greyhounds pick it up. Winkelhofer back behind his own net. Greyhounds with possession. They get it up to their line. It's Brady Martin now. Martin passing that one ahead. Deflected deep. Pass more back behind his own net. Continues it to Gardner. Gardner gets to the line, not out. Now the Colts get it out to the neutral zone where it's collected by the Greyhounds. Here's Brady Martin. Over to Reed. Reed trying to get a stick on it. That puck was bouncing. Aitchison in his own zone. Up ahead. Gardner couldn't get a stick on it. So that's going to be an icing call and a big face-off now coming back in the Barrie Colts zone.
Great opportunity for the Greyhounds there in Solomon. And Brady Smith got rocked by Joe Salandra in the middle of the ice. And then that created a 2-on-1 out of nowhere for the Greyhounds. But Solomon missed the puck. And then just a couple notes. Brady Smith was getting checked out by the trainer just a minute ago. And then Emil Hemming just returned. He had gone down to the locker room. Don't know if that was for an injury or maybe skate repair or something.
Well, we saw Hemming go off with the penalty at the start of the third period, but yeah, we haven't seen much of him here in this third, so we'll keep an eye on that. As the Colts get this one down the ice, chasing after his Bodie Stewart. Stewart in the corner, gives it to Crombie in front of the net, but not able to settle it down was Gardner. Gardner dropping it for Crombie. His pass is blocked. Here's Gardner over to Stewart, takes the shot, and that's stopped by Miller. As this line just buzzing around that Sioux Greyhounds net.
Well, they continue to create some great opportunities. And Bodie Stewart, I mean, it feels like over these 3 games with Crombie and Gardner, he's been playing the best hockey the Barrie Colts have had out of him this season. One of those guys that there was some high expectations out of head coach Dylan Smoskowitz. He didn't get the start he wanted. He's kind of moving down between the 3rd and 4th line, but getting an opportunity here with Crombie and Gardner, and that line has a ton of chemistry.
Bodie Stewart got his first goal of the season Thursday night back in Barrie. And last night nearly got one himself as the puck sent in front. Schneid knocked it down, but ends up in the corner. At the point, Hanser takes the shot. That goes wide of the net. Greyhounds will pick it up. They're going to send this down the ice. Brown didn't get a stick on it. So that's going to be icing now against the Sioux. And they'll bring this faceoff back with 8:06 remaining. That clock ticking away here for Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, the opportunities have kind of stopped coming to the Greyhounds. They were putting ton of shots on goal here early in the period, but they've kind of stalled out a bit recently, and a lot more of the puck has been in the Barrie Colts offensive zone recently.
So face off to the right of Landon Miller. Brown taking the draw for the Greyhounds up against Acidorian. The puck ends up in the corner. Loose puck. Schneid gets to it for the Colts. That's going to roll behind the Greyhounds net. Acidorian. He's taken to the boards by Evans, and the Greyhounds will get it out. Here's Sharon at center ice. Sharon sending that across to Brown. We got a delayed penalty call coming against the Barrie Colts. I believe it happened behind the play. It's going to be for a slash, and it's going against Alex Acidorian.
Not what the Colts wanted here late in this game. 7:45 to go, taking a penalty. Penalty kill has been strong tonight. It's been strong all weekend. It's been perfect, in fact, so far, and they'll look to continue that here.
Well, you can't keep taking chances like that as the Greyhounds going on their 4th power play of the night. 0-3 already. Face off to the left of Hrebeck. Greyhounds get it back at the blue line. Reed's going to send that one forward. Winkelhofer. That goes off the linesman back to the point. Here's Brady Martin. Martin taking his time, goes back to Reed. Reed side of the net, fanning on it. There was Mignosa. He had a wide open cage. Greyhounds move it around. Here's Martin. Takes the shot, stop, rebound, scores! Mignosa. Hrebeck made the first save. He was down and out. So Mignosa had the whole top shelf to work with. And this game is tied at 3.
Well, Mignosa fanned on the first shot. Then as the puck goes back to the point, Hayes with the chance. Hrebeck had to go down to make the save. And then flipped into the net by Mignosa. I wonder if there was contact out front, though. It looks like, and I think we may have a challenge here for goaltender interference.
Now remember, if the Colts challenge and it's not overturned, then the Colts would go shorthanded for delay of game. So right now, Dylan Smoskowitz having a conversation with the official. They're going to challenge it. So a big moment here for the Colts. So we'll find out if it's going to be a tied hockey game or if this one's coming back.
Well, I wondered, like Ben Hrebeck, I mean, the way he went down there, I wondered if he had slipped or there was contact because it didn't really look like a shot where he would have to sprawl out like that. I mean, he was facing right at Travis Hayes, the shooter, so he wasn't like sliding across. Like that looked like the way he was positioned, like he was coming from across the crease to slide out, but we'll have to see. I mean, the call on the ice was a good goal, and you just never know with these reviews. Sometimes the angles just don't show what they need.
Well, we haven't been able to see a replay ourselves, so we have no idea what the officials are looking at right now. But this, we'll have to wait and see if this is close or not. So our referees tonight, Jesse Wilmot and Tyson Stewart, they're the two right now looking at the tablet on the far side. And they're taking a long look at this one to determine if there was, in fact, goaltender interference on this goal from Marco Mignosa.
You can kind of see a replay in the far corner of the press box, and looked like the Sioux player was skating backwards as Hrebeck was going down. Wonder if that's enough, though, for the officials. Obviously, a huge moment in this game. I mean, Sioux Greyhounds 0 for 3 on the power play tonight, have been down in the game since about halfway through the first period. A chance to tie the game here and get things back even on a Barrie Colts team that's kind of slowing down heading into this last moments of a 3-3.
Well, I was looking over, we've got the Barrie Colts video coach beside us here in the broadcast booth, and judging by what I saw on his screen, it looked like there was a Greyhound player going through the crease and may have made contact with Ben Horebic. But then it comes down to was that player bumped into Ben Horebic. So there's so many question marks here with this one.
Just a note while we wait. Final at the U17 World Challenge. It's Canada Red beating Canada White 6-3 to capture gold there. Charlie Murta of Flint, Ryerson Edgar of Niagara, and North Bay's Cam Warren all with goals.
Well, not too bad there. That's a good result. Canada against Canada. And so that always seems to happen at the U17. So you got the white Canada team against the red Canada team. But still, a great experience for all those players off at that tournament.
Well, Barrie Colts didn't have anyone representing them there, but I'm sure there's a few faces down on that bench that are looking ahead to the World Juniors. Cole Baudouin was there last year. Kayshawn Aitchison, an opportunity. Emil Hemming. I mean, Gabriel Eliasson, a guy we talked about earlier. He's been in some tournaments with Sweden. Maybe he gets an opportunity.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how the lineup looks once we get closer to the World Junior Hockey Championships. So there will be players going off to camps, and it's going to impact the teams one way or another. And then that's where the depth needs to come through, much like we saw at the start of the regular season when players were off at NHL camps. But this play is still under review here at GFL Memorial Gardens. What happened on the play is that Marco Mignosa got to the loose puck after Ben Horebic made the first save. He was sprawled out on the ice, and Mignosa had the whole top shelf to work with. But the challenge is goaltender interference and whether or not there was contact with Horebic before the puck was put into the net. That we really haven't had much video to look at here in our broadcast booth. From what we did see, it looks like there was a player, at least in the crease, that may have made contact with Ben Horebic. But you have to figure with how long they're looking at this, this could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing about long reviews is Ben Horebic switching out his water bottle right now is you don't really know what benefits, because it could benefit the Sioux because it looks like they haven't been able to find any evidence yet, but at the same time, it could benefit the Colts as maybe they're looking at how much time needs to be left on the clock.
Okay, so the headset's coming off. We're going to get the call from Jesse Wilmot, the referee tonight. So it's either going to be 3-3 or 3-2. And they're taking their time, still having a discussion about this. Oh, they're opening the penalty box door. No goal, so they're calling it back. So it remains 3-2 for the Barrie Colts. Well, I guess Asadorian needs to go back in the penalty box.
Yeah.
I was wondering if he was opening it because then it's a delay of game penalty if your challenge is unsuccessful.
Well, I will admit now that it was a successful challenge, I wasn't going to call him out if it hadn't been, but I can only hear you in my left headset. So in my right, I can hear the Barrie Colts video coach beside me. It was a very quick challenge it through his little walkie-talkie there.
Oh, so you should have said that earlier.
Well, I wanted to look like I created the speculation.
Creating more of the suspense.
Well, I didn't want to say like that he said it immediately, and then it's a goal, and
that's true. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. So it's still a 3-2 hockey game. The goal from Mignosa disallowed, but the power play continues here for the Sioux for 1:35. What a lengthy review that was. We'll see how that affects the momentum of this hockey game. As Emil Hemming, shorthanded, reaches center ice. That's knocked away from him, but following up is Baudouin. He's going to dump this one in. Ends up back behind the Greyhounds net. Miller leaving it there for his defense. Chase Reed comes up with it. Reed reaches his own blue line through center. His pass deflected. Martin was reaching for it. Colts are calling for a glove-to-head pass, and now we'll get the whistle. As now we got Aitchison putting Travis Hayes in a headlock. Referee's just telling them to settle down.
I think that's Wilmot there. He's like, guys, just enough.
Let's chill out.
Hayes now motioning at, I don't really know who he was motioning at because he was looking at about 5 different Colts, and that's about how many Colts he's been in with it tonight. I mean, he was the one Passmore was laying on, then Hanser took his helmet off, and he was into it with Vodwin earlier. Now Aitchison. Oh! Eliasson just gave him a check to the head with his stick.
Oh, that is not a good play there. Eliasson on Hayes, and Hayes, he is going right down the tunnel. Or he was. He is in rough shape. Oh, that was not good from Gabriel Eliasson. John Dean, the head coach of the Greyhounds, putting up the 5. He wants a 5-minute major here. That was, you don't want to see that. And we'll have to wait and see how this is going to transpire.
Well, Eliasson, a guy that, he sometimes takes things a bit too far when he's trying to be a bit too physical, and 5 up on the board right now, and a guy when the emotions get the best of him. We saw it last night with Henry Doucette. It took him out, and now I mean, there was no intent, or there was full intent there is what I'm trying to say. I mean, he just turned and slammed him with his stick in the face.
So right now, the officials, they have to take a look at it every time they call a 5-minute major. I think Eliasson's night may be done.
This one shouldn't take.
This should not be a long review. And now you're putting your team down for 5 minutes with 6:42 left to go in the hockey game. Plus, you have Alex Asadorian still serving that original penalty for another 58 seconds. So this is a huge opportunity for the Greyhounds to tie this game after having one disallowed.
Well, for Barrie Colts penalty kill, I mean, it's been a great weekend for them, but they're really going to need to step up here. Still looking at it.
This review, I'm thinking is a lot longer than it needs to be. But they do have the 5 minutes on the board for Eliasson. Jesse Wilmot has taken off the headset, so we should get the ruling. As I'm sure Gabriel Eliasson is going to be sent off. They're having the conversation. They're nodding their heads, and yes, Eliasson is done. And so the fans here at the arena celebrating the call is Gabriel Eliasson. He's going to go right down the tunnel. He is done after that major penalty. As Dylan Smoskowitz now being given an explanation. And now John Dean yelling at the officials because I think they're indicating this faceoff is going to be outside the Barrie Colts blue line, but I'm wondering if this should be back in the Colts zone.
I like that there's players having a conversation with the official. It's 4 Greyhounds in case on Aitchison.
Oh my. So they are going to bring this faceoff back into the Sioux zone. 6:42 to go. It's a 5-on-3 for 58 seconds.
Colts need a player in the box.
Well, the door remains open. We'll see if the Colts send somebody in. Well, they're not going to send someone in to serve this penalty. Well, face off one by the Greyhounds. Puck comes back to the point. Chase Reed. Reed taking his time. Backhand pass down to Brady Martin. Martin back to Reed as they announce the game misconduct to Gabriel Eliasson. Greyhounds moving it around. They're taking their time. Reed fans on the one-timer. Puck's loose. Winkelhofer gets it back to Reed. I got Bodwin and Winkelhofer mixing it up. Greyhounds with it. Takes shot off the post. We can hear that from here. Winkelhofer back to Reed. 26 seconds left in the penalty to Asadorian. As it's a 5-on-3, Brady Martin passing it. Deflected wide of the net by Brown. Back to the blue line it goes. Reed to Winkelhofer. Down low. Brown backtracking to Reed. One-timer score. Chase Reed picks off the corner. as that comes on the 5-on-3.
All what the Barrie Colts wanted. 9 seconds left in the 5-on-3. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered because the 5-minute power play, it goes until it's over. No matter how many times you score, the Greyhounds doing a nice job working the puck around, and then Reed wide open for the one-timer. Horevic trying to slide across, as this game now tied at 3, and the Colts still don't have a player in the box. The penalty will expire before.
Well, that's if the time runs out. So I'm wondering if they're figuring there's going to be another whistle between now and the end of the power play, as it's a major penalty. So the full 4 minutes still to work with here for the Sioux. They just tied this game at 3. Chase Reed getting his 5th of the season. And now a chance for the Greyhounds to take the lead. Winkelhofer passing it across to Reed. Reed takes the shots, and that goes over the net. Along the boards, Magnosa gives it up to Martin. Back to Reed. Martin gets it again. Trades places with Winkelhofer. Back to Reed. Reed waits, fires, stop, rebound, stopped by Horevic. What a save! He absolutely robbed Brady Martin.
Well, if you're only able to watch the radio broadcast, or listen to the radio broadcast, don't worry, because you're going to see that save by Ben Horevic later tonight on a few sites. I mean, the shot comes from one side. He makes the save. Huge rebound out to Brady Martin. He wastes no time, gets the shot off, and Horevic with a huge save.
That could be the OHL save of the night from Ben Horevic just there. He saved this game for the Barrie Colts. 5 minutes left to go in this hockey game. Jeremy Martin skating through center for the Greyhounds. Martin cuts to the middle. That's taken away as Schneid will skate it up. William Schneid shorthanded into the attacking zone. Aitchison wants it. Schneid takes the shot, and that's deflected into the corner. Jeremy Martin will put it back behind his own net. Louse skating it up now for the Sioux. 4.5 minutes left in the hockey game. Tied at 3. Puck goes behind the net. Hands are reaching for it. Back to the blue line is Sharon here for the Greyhounds. Sharon, they'll skate it towards the net. That goes wide. Back to the blue line, it's Brown. Christopher Brown gives it up to McKenzie. Quinn McKenzie on the near side. Facing pressure there, sends it down low. Greyhounds trying to move it around quickly, ends up in the corner. McKenzie back to Brown. Brown to McKenzie, into the slot, trying to find Martin, ends up with Louse, and that's blocked by Bodie Stewart. Stewart's stick broke on the block, so he's down a stick. Greyhounds moving it around. Jeremy Martin back to McKenzie. At the point, Brown. Christopher Brown across. Its broken stick is getting in the way. Puck comes to the near side. Stewart gets a stick from Salandra. Here's Brown now. He has it at the point. Christopher Brown passing it across. Picked up here by McKenzie at the line. Louse keeps that one in. Greyhounds moving it around. There's the shot stop rebound. Horevic has the pad down. Colts can't get it out. Louse fires. Stopped by Horevic. And now we get pushing and shoving with Sharon right on the doorstep. As this is going to generate a crowd. We'll see if any penalties come of this, as we only have 3:28 remaining in this hockey game.
Well, really great effort from the Barrie Colts penalty kill right now, but they still got 1:46 to go here. They've kept the Greyhounds to the outside, not letting them get some high-quality chances here. Even after Bodie Stewart lost his stick, he still did a great job getting down, and then when Justin Hanser gave him his stick, Hanser shoving a couple players around, trying to clear the traffic out in front. But like I said, still 1:46 to go, and Calvin Cromie going to go over, and he'll sit in the penalty box for the next 2 minutes.
Well, the official came over and talked to Dylan Smoskowitz, reminding him he needed a player in the box. Because if the time expires with no one in the box, then there's nobody to come on the ice. And now we're going to get a whistle for a glove-to-head pass as Cole Baudouin sent that one back. Is that going to be a penalty for a face-off infraction?
Looks like it. Maybe.
Yeah, I think Cole Baudouin's going to come over the box. So now it's going to be a 5-on-3 situation for 1:45 because Cole Baudouin used his glove in the face-off dot.
Oh, what you want to see if you're the Colts. I just mentioned, like the 5-minute penalty is so long. I mean, they've been killing off, doing a great job on the penalty kill for over 3 minutes, but may not come to matter because of another penalty here.
Well, the Greyhounds tied this game at 3 thanks to the 5-on-3 situation from Chase Reed. So they get another 5-on-3. Still a minute 35 to work with as the puck's back in the Greyhound zone. Reed will send it across to Brady Martin. Martin hits the brakes at the half boards. Sends it back to Winkelhofer. Reed to Martin. Brady Martin back to Reed. Winkelhofer on the far side, down low. Greyhounds moving it around. That's Mignosa. Mignosa waits, fires, kicked aside by Hrebeck. Loose puck picked up by Newton. Newton will get this one down the ice. Just over a minute remaining in this 5-on-3. And then Calvin Crombie will come out of the penalty box. Here's Brady Martin receiving the pass. He'll enter the zone. Martin back to Reed. Reed settles it down, sends it across to Winkelhofer. Winkelhofer download Mignosa. Mignosa across, blocked by Aitchison. Puck stays in the zone. Reed down to Martin. Brady Martin comes back to the point. High slot now. His pass down low. Quick pass. And it rolls just past the post. The Greyhounds nearly took the lead. Puck comes back to the point. Reed down low to Mignosa. Cross ice feed. That's deflected. And that'll escape the zone. And that relieves the pressure here for a bit. 25 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Greyhounds get it back into the Barrie zone. Winkelhofer at the point. Down low. Finds Mignosa. In front. Stopped by Hrebeck. What a save. Oh my goodness. If the Barrie Colts somehow get this game into overtime, Ben Hrebeck is the hero.
What 2 huge saves from Ben Hrebeck on this power play. And Brady Martin charging net there, couldn't get it. We're going to get a timeout from the Sioux. I mean, you can only ride your 5 guys for so long. It's been the top guys for Greyhounds for most of this power play.
And the shots right now so lopsided. 37-19 for Sault Ste. Marie. In this third period alone, Ben Hrebeck has made some of the best saves of the season from his game so far.
Well, so huge. And I mean, between the Eliasson penalties sandwiched in between Bodwin and Asadorian penalties, it's 6.5 minutes of power play time for the Sioux Greyhounds. And Ben Hrebeck is 30 seconds away from getting the Colts through these penalty kills in a tie game. And obviously, he came into them with the lead, but if you were told the Barrie Colts, hey, they're going to tie the game here, I think Dylan Smoswitz would jump right on that and say, we'll take it.
So it's 14 seconds of 5-on-3, and then Calvin Crombie comes out of the penalty box. He's serving the major for Gabriel Eliasson. So the faceoff coming to the left of Hrebeck. Quinn McKenzie will take the draw against Jaden Newton. Faceoff won by the Hounds. Winkelhofer at the point. Gives this one up to Reed. Back to Winkelhofer. They trade places. Puck goes down low. Back to Reed. Reed takes the shot. Stopped. Rebound goes to the corner. Picked up by Martin. Winkelhofer at the point. It's now a 5-on-4. Shot wide of the net. That's going to bounce back to the point. Greyhounds can't get to it, and the Colts are going to clear it out. And now Cole Bodwin set to come out of the penalty box. So Barrie dodging a big bullet here. So back to 5-on-5. Cole Bodwin going right to the bench. Chase Reed gets it out of the zone. Brown can't control that pass. It won't be icing as Hanser comes back behind his own net. Dropping this back. It rolls in front. Hrebeck had to be careful there. Crombie, he's just going to put this one off the glass and out to center. Solomon dumping this one in. Emerton back to play it. He'll send this back behind his own net. 1 minute remaining here in this third period. Justin Hanser back to Crombie. He has it in the far corner in the Colts zone. He's going to put this one off the glass down the ice. Not enough for icing. Solomon, he'll take it back behind his own net. Hunter Solomon passing this one across. Evans up the boards. That's deflected into the zone. Ends up back behind the Colts net. Picked up by Aitchison. Up ahead to Salandra. Salandra forward to Bodwin. Cole Bodwin from the corner in front. That goes through the blue paint. Puck comes to the point. Kept in by Passmore. Puts that to the corner. Bodwin chasing after it behind the net. Bodwin taken to the boards there by Reed. Bodwin lost his stick in the process. Now the Greyhounds get it to the line and out. It's Quinn McKenzie through center. He dumps this one in. 14 seconds left in the period. Back down low it goes. Sharon into the slot. There's a chance. What a save by Hrebeck again. Becoming a broken record with these saves. Puck's loose in front. Greyhounds take the shot, miss the net, and that's going to sail down the ice as Ben Hrebeck robs the Greyhounds again.
And with the power plays and it being the final minutes here of this game, it's the same players over and over again. It's the top players for the Sioux. They got to be losing their minds right now. I mean, the Greyhounds had the game won right there, and Hrebeck somehow slides across, making huge save after huge save on the Sioux Greyhounds here in the third period.
Unreal. And considering the power play time the Greyhounds had in that second half of the third period, they had 2 5-on-3 situations. They capitalized on one of them. And Ben Hrebeck, outstanding. 38 shots to 19 in this hockey game in favor of the Greyhounds.
Well, it was a tight game going into the third period, and the Greyhounds kind of outplaying the Colts early in the period. And then once the power plays started taking over, I mean, it's been all Greyhounds since then, obviously, and that's really inflated the shot clock.
So the Barrie Colts, overtime is something they're used to. This is now the 8th game this season going into extra time. That's the most in the OHL. They have a record of 3-0, and then in the shootout, they're 1-3. So they do have a pretty solid points percentage for overtime. Well, the Sioux Greyhounds, this is just the 5th time they've needed overtime. They've got a record of 1-1 in the overtime period and 2-0 in a shootout,
including a win against the Barrie Colts back in October in the shootout. And just a note out of town, Erie is up by 3 goals on Niagara with a minute to go. So Barrie Colts, with that point there in regulation, have tied the Ice Dogs for first. And if they can get the victory here, Barrie Colts will be first in the Central Division.
So the Colts going with Beaudoin, Hemming, and Aitchison as this overtime period now underway. Aitchison has it in his own zone. He's going to take it around his own net. He's got Quinn McKenzie there on the forecheck. Aitchison leaves it for Beaudoin. Cole Beaudoin. He's going to skate this one ahead into the neutral zone. Beaudoin skates it forward. Has it in the corner. Beaudoin still with it. Comes back to the point. Colts trying to mix up the Greyhounds, but it's the Colts who have it escaping the zone. Beaudoin's going to come all the way back into his own zone in front of the goaltender. Kayshawn Aitchison now with possession. Greyhounds are making a change. Aitchison's going to drop it back to Hemming. Emil Hemming. He'll skate it up through the neutral zone. Hemming over to Beaudoin. Beaudoin on the wing. Back to Aitchison, but that pass does not connect. And that puck's going to sail back into the Barrie zone. Colts will make a line change here as Aitchison takes his time going around the net. He's got Crombie and Gardner with him. Gives it up to Brad Gardner. Gardner on the wing. Taking this down low. Hits the brakes. Peels back. Here's Emerton at the point. Cole Emerton giving that up to Crombie. Crombie in the high slot. Staying with it. Crombie trying to keep it away from Martin. Back behind the net. That misses Gardner. So now the Greyhounds, they have a chance. Chase Reed's just going to settle it down. He's surrounded by Colt players. Gives it up to Crombie. Emerton from the boards. Takes to the corner to the net. Takes the shot. Stopped by Miller. Emerton back to the point for Crombie. Crombie towards the net. Deflected. It's bouncing. Miller can't hold it. Puck just goes wide. What a chance there. Now it's Brady Martin skating it up for the Greyhounds. Martin enters the attacking zone. Gives it up to Mignosa. Mignosa with a shot blocked by Crombie. Salandra after the puck. Mignosa has a stick broken. Crombie, or make that Salandra, is going to go for a skate. Joe Salandra enters the attacking zone. Nope, he's going to peel back. Almost too many men on the ice for Barrie. Fans want a penalty, but none coming. Kayshawn Aitchison was ready to come out on the ice when Salandra turned around. Aitchison's out there now, drops it for Salandra. 2:50 left in overtime. Salandra carrying this one in for the Colts. Salandra going around the Sioux net, stays with it across. That pass is deflected. He's trying to set up Stewart. Bodie Stewart down low for the Colts, still with possession. Stewart hits the brakes, gives that one up. Picked up there by Salandra. Salandra in the high slot, staying with it. He'll turn it around, doesn't like what he sees, so he's going to escape the zone. This is going to give the Colts a chance to make a line change. 2:20 remaining. Here's Cole Beaudoin on the wing. Beaudoin towards the net, takes the shot, stopped by Miller. Greyhounds look to take it back the other way quickly. Sharon, that got away from him. Hemming sends it ahead, and now we're going to get a whistle here And it looks as though it made contact with somebody on the Greyhounds bench.
What a start to overtime. 3 minutes without a whistle there. And in the Barrie Colts' last 3 overtime games, all coming on this win streak, as Dylan Smoskowitz is going to use a timeout. Baudouin, Hemming, and Aitchison started the overtime. They didn't let a single whistle happen. They didn't let a single line change happen. They immediately got the goal, but not here tonight. We've had tons of action here in this overtime.
And really, the Greyhounds haven't had much possession time with the puck. The Colts doing a great job keeping it away, and when the Greyhounds do get it, we saw Chase Reed surrounded by Colt players, so he had no chance to even make a pass.
Colts have been doing a great job. Calvin Crombie keeping it in at the point there. Bit ago, Cole Emerton did a really nice play in the offensive zone there. He nearly had the game winner. And all it takes is one chance in overtime. The Colts can dominate this overtime for 4 minutes and 55 seconds. It doesn't matter if the Greyhounds go down the ice in 4 seconds and score.
Well, that's the thing with 3-on-3. Things can turn around quite quickly as this faceoff will be brought outside the Barrie Colts blue line. No surprise, Baudouin, Hemming, and Aitchison on the ice for the Barrie Colts, while the Greyhounds going with Reed, Hayes, and McKenzie. So Quinn McKenzie on the faceoff dot with Cole Baudouin. 2:09 left to go here in overtime, won by the Colts. Emil Hemming going for a skate. He's got Aitchison going to the net. Hemming across to Aitchison, but Reed deflects that pass. Aitchison trying to hold on to it, gives it to Hemming. Hemming into the slot, back to Baudouin. Baudouin on his backhand, he'll peel back. He's got McKenzie putting on pressure. Baudouin stays with it, across to Aitchison. Puck's loose, Miller the save as reaching for it was Chase Reed. That took away the scoring chance.
Well, these 3 Barrie Colts, I mean, they're dominant 5-on-5 when you give them this much room. The Greyhounds just kind of let Baudouin go to work there. He was able to get free of the defender and had Aitchison down low. That was twice there. Both Hemming and Baudouin tried to slide it across to Aitchison, but the Greyhounds defenders getting in front of it. Really nice job by Chase Reed.
Face off to the left of Miller. Baudouin still out there for the Colts. Scrambled draw picked up here by Magnosa. Magnosa looking over his shoulder, trying to see if he has support. Magnosa taking his time. He's going to peel back. Marco Magnosa up to Brady Martin. Martin enters the zone on the far side. That's deflected. Following it up is Winkelhofer, but that's taken away by Hemming. Hemming trying to get a breakaway. Puck was out of his reach. Ends up in the Greyhound zone. Hemming will just send it towards the net. Greyhounds send it up. Brady Martin on the breakaway. Puck bounce. Trying to go between the legs. What a save by Hrebeck. As Brady Martin was trying to get fancy there with the stick work on the breakaway.
Well, kind of similar to the one turnover yesterday by the Colts that led to a goal. Hemming just tried a backwards pass. No one was there. And Martin had a breakaway, fumbled the puck that allowed Hemming to get back, and Martin was kind of stuck on what to do. He goes between the legs, and it worked for him. But Ben Hrebeck flashing the glove, making another beautiful save.
You don't really expect that when you're in overtime, but Martin nearly made it work. 1:10 left in the overtime period. Cole Emerton's going to skate this one ahead for the Colts. Emerton drops it back to Crombie. Calvin Crombie will skate this one in for Barrie. Crombie down low, goes around the Greyhounds net. Crombie still with it. We're in the final minute of overtime. Down low to Gardner. He's dealt alone. Gardner can't get the shot to go. He's at the side of the net, still with possession. He's going to send this one around to Cole Emerton. Emerton can't keep it in play, so he'll go to center. Crombie up to Gardner. Brad Gardner will skate this one in for the Colts. Gardner down low around the Greyhounds net. Nearly lost it there, trying to keep it away from Reed. Reed pokes that one free. Colts turn it over. Now the Greyhounds a chance to go the other way. Here's Sharon. He's got Hayes with him. Sharon to Hayes. One timer misses the nets. Travis Hayes had an open cage. Puck taken out to center ice. 18 seconds remaining. Greyhounds have possession. That's center ice. Picked up here by Magnosa. Magnosa carrying this one in. Down low. 8 seconds remaining around the Colts net. Marco Magnosa passing it back to Martin. It doesn't connect. That'll escape the zone. There's a shot at the buzzer. But wow, what an overtime period that was. And we're not done.
Well, even after the buzzer, I mean, Aitchison and Brady Martin just got into it again, and Aitchison gave him a little slash. But wow, I mean, it looked like Travis Hayes had finally gotten the Sudbury or the Sioux Greyhounds to beat Ben Hrebeck, and he missed the net. Wow.
I don't know how he missed the cage there. What a overtime period. Shots after that overtime now 40-23 in favor of Sault Ste. Marie. But really, that overtime dominated by the Barrie Colts. And you kind of mentioned that, where you can have the possession time, and then at the end, it can go the other way. And we nearly had that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, all it took was one opportunity, and it was just a little bounce at the point, and all of a sudden the Greyhounds were out the other way on a 2-on-1. Sharon sends it across, and Hayes, like we said, missing the net there. Liam in the chat, what a save by Hrebeck. Can you do a compilation, Mike?
There'd be a lot of that, especially in the third and overtime.
Saves of the night for Ben Hrebeck.
This game's a highlight package for him. Like, there's so many huge stops. So now we're going to go in the shootout. Christopher Brown will be the first shooter here for the Sioux. So Brown versus Hrebeck in the shootout. Brown taking his time, slowly comes on net and lost the handle, and then makes contact with Hrebeck. Hrebeck seems to be okay. He's having words with the official, but Brown kind of deked himself out.
Yeah, he kept going and didn't know when he was going to shoot it there.
So Kayshawn Aitchison's going to be the next shooter here. Aitchison getting the rain of booze, which he seems to enjoy. Aitchison carrying this one into the net. Shot stopped by Miller.
Aitchison tried to go glove side there, and Miller just got enough of that one. Didn't save it cleanly, but now the 4th overall pick from this year, Brady Martin, coming in.
Brady Martin, the captain of the Sioux Greyhounds, he'll skate this one in. Martin decides to go wide towards the net. Forehand shot, scores. Brady Martin puts that one under the bar, and the Greyhounds have the advantage.
Martin with a shush to the Barrie Colts bench after that. Chirping still going on.
So Emil Hemming will be the next shooter here for the Colts, trying to stay even with the Greyhounds in the shootout. Hemming weaving into the zone. Forehand, he lost the handle of it. That puck rolled away, and Greyhounds have a chance to win it. So Marco Mignosa has the game on his stick here in the shootout. Mignosa gets the puck at center ice. He's going to weave, much like we saw from Martin. Mignosa to the net, takes the shot, scores! That's game! As Marco Mignosa waving to the Barrie Colts bench. And that's the back-to-back shootout victories for the Greyhounds this season.
Colts flooding the ice as the Greyhounds were giving some hand signals over to the bench, and Gardner Crombie coming over. Officials trying to get involved. Now Crombie going after Aerosmith.
Yeah, Aerosmith gave a slash to Crombie. You've got everybody on the ice from the Greyhounds. They're all at center waving at the Colts.
Eastern Conference versus Western Conference, by the way. And now you got some clowns in the stands trying to throw beers on the Colts. And now the Greyhounds are trying to slash pass more.
John Dean, the head coach, he's trying to get the players off the ice. As things just being pretty rowdy here at the GFL Memorial Gardens. Evans is being held back by the official. The Colts are now making their way off the ice, but the Greyhounds still on the ice. As the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds win this one in a shootout by the final score of 4-3, but ending there on a pretty dramatic note. As I got to fix that. Not 4-3 Barrie, 4-3 Sault Ste. Marie, but what an ending to this hockey game.
Big win for the Greyhounds. I mean, This is a team coming in. They've lost 2 straight games. I don't know if they always go all the way around. This pretty cool to see going around the entire.
Well, it's almost like the Carolina Hurricanes with the way they do their celebrations at the end of games. The Greyhounds going around the ice to celebrate this victory as they snap their 2-game losing streak. But man, oh man, what a game this was tonight as we get even rowdy up here in the media box. But what a game. But the big difference for this one, obviously, Gabriel Eliasson's match penalty.
Yeah.
That basically changed the complexion of this game, and the Greyhounds took advantage.
I don't even know how to describe that one. I mean, that was a terrible penalty, and it was as obvious as it comes. I mean, Eliasson just turned and he 2-hand chop right into Hayes' face, and probably a suspension coming for Gabriel Eliasson. And I mean, the Greyhounds, they had time to tie the game anyway, but when you give them the entire 7 minutes on the power play, the officials right now as well are reviewing everything that happened. And with all of that, I'm sure there'll be some stuff handed down from the league office on what transpired after the game there.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be some suspensions coming out of this, maybe for both teams. They're going to definitely review this one, but not the way you want to see a game end. Obviously, this game entertaining throughout, but then just the way it ended, kind of ugly there. You had the Greyhounds taunting the Barrie Colts, then the Colts reacting. We saw Calvin Crombie delivering a slash. Him and Blake Aerosmith were mixing it up. And then, just not a great way to end this hockey game, which was entertaining start to finish, but there was a couple of points. We already talked about Eliasson, the penalties at the end of that third period where the Colts, they're up 3-2. Marco Magnosa had a goal disallowed, and you kind of felt, okay, maybe this is the break the Barrie Colts get, but penalties burned them here tonight.
Yeah, and credit to the penalty kill. I mean, they did a solid job. It was just a 1-goal 5-on-3 that they allowed, and that got the Barrie Colts a point tonight. And Ben Horebic, a couple huge saves on multiple Sioux Greyhound players here in those final minutes. And as a broadcaster, when you're applying for a job, you create a demo reel. If Ben Horebic's getting drafted or signed by an NHL team, he may want to use this game as a demo reel for those teams.
Well, that was unreal by Ben Horebic, and I know that Liam mentioning that I might need to do a compilation video there with all those great saves, but this game, just Ben Horebic nearly earned the Barrie Colts the extra point. Obviously, the winning streak now comes to an end at 6 games. It's a point streak now of 7. So, you're going to come out of this 3-3 weekend with at least a point.
Yeah, it's 5 of 6 points this weekend for the Barrie Colts is a pretty strong weekend. I know the Sudbury Wolves are down at the bottom of the standings, but that's still your division rival. They're always going to play you tough, so you take 2 wins from them, and then you pick up a point against a really good Sioux Greyhounds team that's, they've lost 2 straight. They're hungry for a win. It's tough to play a team that's really good and coming off 2 straight losses. I mean, these 2 teams, 2 amazing games here early in the year. I know Dylan Smoskowitz talked about it in the pregame with us about how unusual it is being done with the Sioux this early in the year, but 2 really strong games, both went to a shootout. And I'm sure both teams will remember what happened here tonight if they somehow come out of the East and Western Conference come playoff time.
But now the storyline is going to become how is this going to affect with the penalties at the end of the hockey game? Because everybody was on the ice for the Sioux Greyhounds. Of course, they were celebrating the fact that they won the game in a shootout. Then there was the taunting of the Barrie Colts bench, and then the Colts responding. So it kind of got a little ugly there at the end of this hockey game, which is really too bad. So we'll have to wait and see what comes out of it suspension-wise. I'm figuring Eliasson for that match penalty may result in at least a 1 or 2 game suspension, at least.
There should be a few coming out of the fight for both sides.
Exactly. And the referees, as we're talking, they're announcing the 3 stars. The referees are still on the tablet reviewing everything that happened post-game. It's not ending on a positive note here between the Greyhounds and the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but before that, it was a really fun game to watch, and definitely a game that made the 6-hour trip home worth it. But yeah, an ugly finish, obviously, and not what you want to see is emotions running high on both sides. I mean, the Colts, they've been on the road here the last 2 days for the Greyhounds, 2 straight losses, 4-5 in their last 9. So, emotions running high, and that's what the end result was.
While the referee's still trying to figure out all the penalties at the end of the hockey game, we do have the 3 stars of the game presented by Craighurst Crossing by Georgian Communities, new homes minutes from North Barrie, where inspired living meets small town charm. So your 3 stars tonight. Third star, Jordan Sharon of the Sioux Greyhounds. He had 1 goal. He was a +1. Jeremy Martin, your second star. He had a goal, +1 as well. And the first star, actually coming from the Barrie Colts, Brad Gardner, with a goal and 2 assists. Little surprised the Colts got the number 1 star, but Ben Horebic, I felt, should have at least been the third star tonight.
He probably should have been the one for the Colts. Jeremy Martin, the second star, I noticed him a ton tonight. He had a really great game, and one of those guys. I mean, he's a former first-round pick of the Flint Firebirds, so you just never know. I mean, maybe it didn't fit in Flint, or maybe the coaching style there just isn't what he's the type of player he is. So you never know with guys like that. Maybe he comes here and he shows his true potential as a member of the Sioux Greyhounds.
So it's a final score from Sault Ste. Marie. The Greyhounds winning this one in a shootout by a final score of 4-3. And now we got to make the trek back to Barrie, 6 hours home. So we're going to wrap it up so we can hit the road. But we want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors. For Josh McCann, for Gene Pereira, I'm Mike Poirier saying so long from the GFL Memorial Gardens in Sault Ste. Marie.